Don't sweat the technique. Don't sweat the technique. Don't sweat the technique. Don't sweat the technique. Oh, you turn it down. Don't sweat the technique. Let me see. Where's that light coming from? Get on my nerves. All right. No, close. Mic check, mic checks. Mic check. All right. I need to put some I need some like wait music. Like, you know what I mean? Like cats be having the music in the beginning. Until they get situated. You know, they always online, they trying to get their stuff together. I need like some waiting music. So maybe Curtis. I know Curtis King got a dope intro or something like a beat he can send me. I can put on the intro, something like that. Am I not on? Yep. Dub, what up? Okay, hold on. I'm about to get this going right. Let me put you up on the screen. All right. All righty. All right. Hear me?
Yep,
My good brother, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. You know, I had to get fresh for you. I'm straight out the barber chair, straight to the live stream.
Hey, man. I appreciate you falling in this thing with your brother today.
Oh
Um,
man, listen, I know it's a special occasion, man. You got your lokes on and everything.
hey, man. You know, change it up a little bit. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, first of all, I do want to say this. I know people still falling in and stuff like that, but before we get started, I do want to say always when I go live, especially when early on I started going live on Instagram and stuff. But I always have to give my friends, everybody. First of all, everybody's not what's considered a celebrity or famous figure or known figure, but anybody I talk to that are my friends that I share this space with, I always got to give them their flowers, right? And you
Oh,
have always been since I've met you through Damani, and since I met you. It's you've always treated me like family. You never made me feel like an outsider. You never even made me feel like Damani's homie, right? And
mm.
for me, I appreciate that because you invited me into your home. You invited me into your space of production. I met your family, and you're just an amazing human being that's done some amazing work and still doing amazing work. So I just have to give your flowers first. Let me
Oh
just do
wow,
that first.
man. I appreciate that, man. For real, for real.
Yeah,
That's
man.
love, brother.
Yeah,
Much
you're
love, much
awesome,
love.
awesome, awesome. So first of all, how you been?
Man, you know what? I've been good. I've been good, man. This is a it's a I don't know if I'm going through a you know how people go through midlife crisis.
For sure, for sure.
It's not I'm not having a midlife crisis, but it's like the reverse.
Okay,
It's the
okay,
opposite of that. Like
okay.
it's like I feel like I'm having a midlife wake up call. I'm just waking up to a
Come
lot
on
of
now.
things. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like
okay.
yeah. It's like you know I'm 49 years old. I'm about to turn 50 in August,
Awesome.
and
That's awesome.
I'm starting to be like, you know what? Let me. You know, I feel like doing some things differently. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it's a
You know
good
what?
thing though. It's a good thing.
For sure, for sure. You know, it's funny. People talk about we're young. When we're young, we're so afraid of getting older, right? And
Hmm.
a lot of times we don't realize that getting older for us, for me, I'm 45, right?
Yep.
Um, when I hit my 40s, other than like all of a sudden back pain and stuff like that, but when I started, when I first when you first hit your 40, you start realizing like, wait a minute, I like it here. Like
Yeah.
like I was just talking about this yesterday online with my good friend Curtis King. The thing I
Mm.
used to value, I don't value no more. I value more important things, things I cherish close to my
Right.
heart, something to be. Um, my walk, my faith, my walk with God is way more serious in how I look at life and what the things I choose to do to move forward. That I know I have a bigger responsibility because of my family, my people
Mm.
around me, friends, and you start to like in this. Here's the thing: in this world of craziness all around, right?
Mm.
And you start to if you don't have some kind of foundation, it will drive you crazy, right?
Man.
And this way, and it is the world is already a thing, and then we're black, and then we're men, and then we're in the music business, so it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right?
The
Right,
the walls are just
right. So, but I think the good part is, like you said, man, you get to that age where you just start realizing stuff, and you feel all right. Like I feel
yeah.
good. I feel good about choices I've made. Yeah, we all look back and we did some crazy things and made crazy choices, but
Yeah.
that's life. And
That's
once
life.
you get to the point where it's a testimony at that point, it's like, I can use that to help somebody. My kids. Let me use
Yeah.
these stories to help my kids so they know I'm not a lame. I done did everything they did twice, right?
Four times.
You know what I mean?
Four times.
So
Yeah, man.
yeah, it's an amazing thing, man. I feel you 100%. Where I want to start this thing, I didn't want this to be an interview per se, right? I'm
Okay.
having a conversation with my brother, right?
Okay.
And but for the people who are listening, going to be viewing, falling in, I need them to know maybe what some people may not know because you can Google all kind of stuff, but it doesn't tell you about the man, right? It tells you something about his talents, but not necessarily the man of who you are. Let's start because one thing we never talked about is Little Warren.
Mm.
Let's talk about Lil Warren. Like
Yeah.
where does that start? Where does life start for Lil Warren?
I mean, I'm born, raised, born, bred, Los Angeles, California. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Born in a little subsection of South Central called Watts, Martin Luther King Hospital. You know what I'm
This is
saying?
true.
But I was raised uh, on the west side of LA,
Hmm.
52nd and Normandy to be exact.
Oh yeah, the
But
orange
then I
section.
spent a
That's
lot
something
of
they call it.
time. What you
The
say?
orange, the orange section. That's something they call it.
Right. It wasn't when I grew up. It wasn't orange. It's
Right, right,
orange
right, right,
now.
right, right, right.
But it was blue and true back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? And so, but yeah, I spent a lot of time in a couple areas. One in my neighborhood, but then it seemed like on the weekends and the summers, I spent most of that time in Watts at my cousin's house, my auntie house on
Mm,
117th. I spent a
okay,
lot of time there. Like, I mean, a lot
okay,
of time. So between those two, and then also I spent a lot of time at church.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I like to tell people I come from the Cheats, the
The Chiefs.
CHEETS, the church and the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We
So it's
know, we
kind
know
of
about
like
it. Yeah, for sure.
I spent a bunch of time in both places, and as a youngster, like really young, I'm talking about like 4 or 5. That's when
Mhm.
I knew like music was my thing. Like
Okay.
I
Oh,
was the
so you
church
turned me
drummer
on. Oh, word.
at 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 3 playing drum set at the church.
Wow.
Uh, and I got really good by the time for my 5th birthday. My father bought me like a professional, not one of them kiddie drum sets, like a real professional drum
Right.
set. I couldn't even reach to everything.
Wow.
And I started playing, man. I got serious, started playing, taking lessons, and got real, then when I turned 6, I started playing bass.
What?
And when I hit 9 years old, I started playing keyboards. And so
Yeah.
it was kind of in me. My whole family, most of my family is pretty much musically inclined. Everybody sing, play
Okay.
instrument, something like that. Um, and I'm one of the younger, cousins of. I got 63 first cousins just on my mother's side, right?
Wow.
And I'm the second to youngest boy. And
Okay. Nice.
yeah, it's I got a
And see,
lot of people
that's
protecting me.
great for sure. A big
Yeah,
family. But see
big
that
family.
I like hearing that because um, you would it tells a story. Your pops buying you that real drum set at
Yeah,
that young age kind of tells the story about how musically inclined your family was because if you don't have that kind of understanding or that faith in what musicians and what they can do, what they can be, not to think that not even thinking that maybe he wants to be this, not even thinking that like, oh he wants to be a musician, just on some like I'm going to nurture whatever gifts he has, you know what I
mm,
mean, and kind of I'm gonna pour into that, and he poured into you doing that, and the fact you learned the drums and then moved to bass and then moved to keys obviously, like you said, it's been something going on in the family where there's already an understanding, and it's not
yeah,
like it's not because you hear a lot of old school stories about like, well, I want to learn the drums, and and somebody's parents is like, you ain't learning the drums, you going to school, or you need to be a nurse, you need to be a doctor,
yeah.
right? And but the fact that pops was like, no, here, do that, and not go to school. I'm saying like, but do that too, nurture your gifts, and
Well,
that's pretty cool to hear
I,
that.
I think when it comes to your gifts and your talents and things you want to pursue, if somebody or anybody, even your parents, can talk you out of it, it ain't meant for you. Music
Mm,
was something
right.
nobody could talk me out of.
Well, that you know what? That right there, I didn't even think about that. Because what does it really mean to you if it was that easy somebody take it away?
You just talk me out of it. Like
Right.
not, I'm just talk. You just talking and I quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
probably shouldn't have been doing that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's wow. It's what's crazy is with any passion or gift or whatever, there's going to be people it's going to be haters, non-believers. All these things are going to try to drive you off your path. So if any
Yeah.
one person come along and just knock you off that path, what does it say about that? You
And
know
they
what I mean?
might
So,
not even be a hater. They might be, a family member that love you. They just think that they don't understand this. They don't understand this. They don't get it. Like I seen an interview. Jay-Z was talking about his uncle who
mhm.
said, "Man, you can't go platinum. What you mean you ain't gonna go platinum?" He wasn't. He loved his
Yeah,
nephew. He
for
loved
sure,
Jay-Z, but he was
for
like
sure.
he was just putting his fears on him. He said, "Man, I sold a
Uh,
million records about a million times." But some
right,
people will project their fear
for
because they
sure.
love you and want to protect you. They'll project their fear onto you. And
Yeah,
so, I had some people doing that, but not in my immediate household. My dad was the one that really like pushed me towards it because he used to let me watch Arsenio Hall back in the day, right?
oh, okay, yeah,
Because on
yeah,
Arsenio would always have popular, black musicians and artists on the
yeah,
show. And the one rule of the show was that you had to play live. So they had to have live bands. Like that's when you
yeah,
seen DJ Quick
for sure. Yep, I
on
remember that.
Arsenio. He did
Yep,
just like Compton, but he had a live band playing.
yep,
George Archie playing drums, Rob Bacon on bass. I mean, I
wow,
remember them two dudes like, and it was fun. It was crazy. That was my first time going, "Oh, this dude is crazy." And
yeah,
so I used to watch him, and my dad would come home late from work. He'd get home like 10:30, 11, and I'd be watching him. One day he was like, those guys playing on stage, he was like, that's a job. They getting paid.
yeah.
I was like, I never realized that. And he told me, yeah, they get paid.
Oh, so
That's
into
a
the
real
music,
job.
you're not tripping on the career of it. You just like it's a dope thing to do. That's crazy the way they're doing it. You're
Yeah, I
not
was like,
tripping.
I want to play. I want to be up there and playing. Like I'm not thinking it's their job. I'm thinking like
Yeah,
they play today and then tomorrow they go to work at Kinko's or something. I don't know.
yeah, for sure, for
So,
sure.
but when he told me that,
Mhm.
it changed my whole mindset about that, and I started to pursue it. And so I started at 13 years old pursuing music and being a professional musician, getting paid to play at 13. I've never had a job in my life ever. I've only done and hustled music my entire life.
That's an interesting story, and you've heard stories of people starting young, which isn't rare, but starting young getting paid and then you only doing that, that's an interesting thing because a lot of
Yeah.
people have started young and had jobs and like there was rappers that rap and still had a job or whatever the case may be. But the fact that it was, I mean, in a sense, working out. Like you said, I mean, it worked enough for you to
Well, when
not
you
have
start young like that, think about it. I'm 13.
Yeah, you don't need
I'm
much, no
playing. I'm
bills.
getting paid to playing at churches and stuff like that, and getting paid. But like, I live at home,
Yeah,
so
no
it ain't like I
bills.
got bills.
Right, right,
And the money they paying me is a lot of money, but I don't even need for real. Like I
right.
ain't thinking about buying nothing but now laters and Adidas. You know what I'm saying? So most of the money I made stayed in my little bottom drawer. I was just, and then when my parents would come sometimes, fall on hard times, can't pay a bill. I go in my drawer like, oh, here's $200 for that light bill. Like I didn't know
Right, right.
anything else. So I literally, and so when you think about 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, right? That's a long time to be stacking money and doing this, and your career is growing at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm not even tripping on like the hard side of the business, which I went through all that, but I'm so young, it didn't really matter because I got a home to go to. It's not like me
yeah,
failing or me not getting a certain job or not getting a certain gig is, a detriment to my life. Like I can't pay my bills. I don't have none.
yeah. You weren't
You know what I'm saying?
in survival mode like a lot of us was. Like a lot
I
of young
wasn't.
people were like had a job or had bills, had their own house. You was like, oh, I get to go home and so I'm
I live at
cool.
home. I'm still in school. You know what I'm saying? Like so it afforded me the opportunity to grow
Hmm.
and experience the growing pains, but in the comfortability of my parents' home.
Right,
And
right.
so, when my dad made sure I had certain responsibilities. Like when I was 16, he gave me the family house DWP bill, the water and the power
Hmm.
bill. He was like, "This yours. This your bill." He said,
Oh,
"If you don't pay this bill, your family's
yeah.
gonna be in the dark." And I
That
was 16 then. And I listen. I'm 49. I still pay that light bill at my parents' house right now.
now, see, I love that. I
Yeah,
love that because it's because we're always taught to there's certain ways to parent, right? You have these. First of all, there's no manual to it, right? Your kids gonna be different,
yeah,
personalities are different, right? But I love the fact that he was teaching you something. Look, I can pay it. That's
yeah,
because that's what I'm taking my family anyway. I can pay it, but let me teach you something real early and get you used to this now. Because
yep,
you're gonna get life is gonna get real in a minute. So let's get you used to just don't get all this ain't your money. All of it's never just all your money, right?
right,
Right.
right,
And we learned that. We learned that because you learned that early before taxes. You learned it
yep.
before management fees. You learned it before lawyer fees. So that's a really good lesson to learn coming up and coming into the game, right?
Yeah, and consequently, the responsibility also like just managing that in terms of like turning lights off in the house. Immediately, I was like, everybody turn these lights off. The, everywhere I was like, the house was dark all the time.
Hey, when you start paying bills, all the stuff you didn't care about. Hey, who got that water running in there?
Hey man, I made my little sister's life miserable. I kept going over, hey, turn the TV off. You ain't even watching this. Turn it off. Quit running that water all day.
Yeah, you learned that lesson fast. I love that, man. Let me ask you this: coming up doing music, playing instruments, playing in church. Um, okay, playing in church early. First of all, you in church already, and then you playing in church, right? You coming up, and you have this love for music, right? And there's going to be a shift. I don't mean shift outside of church or anything, but a shift into like secular music,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
And there's got to be another shift, and I want to know how this time's coming along because I play music and then I start making beats, right?
yeah,
Before you even start producing, there's a beat making stage. You just
yeah.
make beats before you even learn how to even produce a person or album or whatever, artist, whatever. What's that process like when you started to, or you told yourself, I want to make beats, or I want to try to do that? What
So
maybe somebody
the first thing
doing.
was my father would buy me, mind you, we growing up in the hood. My parents don't got a lot of money. Every piece of equipment that they buy me, is bought with money they don't really have. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Layaways, putting money
Yeah.
aside like that. And so by the time my dad would be like this, he'd say, "Okay, I'm gonna buy you this keyboard, right?
Mhm.
And if you master this keyboard and learn everything about it and learn how to work it really well, then I'll buy you something else."
Ah.
So he bought me a little
Okay.
Casio when I was 9. He bought me this little Casio. I freaked that, learned how to work that. Then he bought me this a Yamaha DX21, right?
Wow.
And I learned, mastered that. Then he bought me a Yamaha RX-17 drum machine, and I
Wow.
started playing with that, and I mastered that. Then he bought me another piece of Yamaha QX21 sequencer. So by the time I'm 12, I got
Yep.
a full little MIDI production studio in my room. And then I had two boom boxes, right? Two big them old school boom boxes, I had two giant ones, right? And what I would do is I would tape 1580K day. I would press record on it before I went to school. And when I came
Hmm.
back, I would listen to it, and whatever I heard, I would try to reduplicate what I heard on my beat machine.
Oh wow, that's dope.
So
That's
I
dope.
do that all the time. That I mean, suffice to say, my beats never came out sounding like they did on the radio. I still got some of them cassette tapes, like, because I would do it and I would record myself doing it.
Wow.
It never came out sounding like whatever them dudes was doing. Marley
Yeah,
Marl and them and
yeah, going on.
yeah, Quick and Hank
Yeah,
Shockey and them and the you know what I'm saying, Bomb Squad. All I was like,
but
yeah, I was not sounding like that.
but I think also the grit and the motivation to even do it, to try it, right?
Yeah,
You got to think about all the technologies we have today, our kids have today, where they can everything is just automatically sync up and all kind of sounds. The computer come with better sounds than we even had back in the day.
yeah,
With them old,
yeah,
first of all, a lot of Casio sounds, right? But the innovation to even do that, record a whole radio day basically, and go back, listen, try to replay with the equipment you have.
yeah.
And they look at. I mean, not right now. That was. I mean, back then that was the future, but now it's like y'all was making beats with that, right? You know what I mean? Like when you
Like, what, y'all had all that equipment because you couldn't. Like, now you got a laptop and that's it, or just a phone.
right, for
You
sure.
had to have like five pieces of gear to try to make it be. You had to have
For sure.
speakers. They didn't have power speakers. You had to have an amp for the speakers, a
And for the
mixing
speakers,
board to run everything through, a
yeah,
keyboard, drum machine, a tape deck to try to turntable to all this stuff. It was a thing. But I'm glad for that because now I listen to the radio and I listen
yeah,
to the sounds and I go like, man, the reason why radio sounds the way it does is because everybody has access to the exact same sounds. Like, we didn't know
right,
where Dre was getting his sounds from, or Quick, or Teddy Riley, or whoever. Everybody sounded different. Or Timbaland back in the day, like they had their own sounds because they've been
yeah,
digging in the crates and getting things that they what their ears hear. Now you listen to the radio, it sounds like one long song because everybody got the exact same sounds.
same sounds. And they're looking for the trend and what's hot, and then let's try to make that because for them at this point it's money per se. It's money now. Like back then, you were trying to be an individual. I was
Yes.
trying to be different. Like, yeah, of course we. When I come up doing just rapping, yeah, I was trying to. I patterned myself after Ice Cube, right? So I
Yeah.
tried to sound like Cube. I was trying to sound like Cube in a way as far as like technique and storytelling, but I also wanted to be me, right?
Mm.
So I mean, plus you can't just be Cube. Cube is one of the greatest, right? But
Yeah.
I also, we have to like it's like tracing first. Learn it before you draw. You learn how to
Yeah.
trace. And then once you start getting it on your own, you come with your own style. But now it's kind of like, and not to like completely crap on like the new music because there's some dope music out today. But
Yeah.
we do
Absolutely.
a lot of people and what the corporations are pushing out to the masses, like you said, sound like one long track and everything sounds the same. And radio, who listens to radio? Obviously, somebody listens to the radio, but it seems like a dying thing in itself. Radio,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Not to get on that all the way, but but yeah. So let me ask you this: you okay? You're now making beats,
Yep.
right? Are you consciously know that I want to be a music producer at that
No,
point?
no,
Okay,
I'm just making up beats. I'm just, trying different things. And I don't know what a producer is for real. Not
right.
at 12 and 13, but somewhere around 14, 15, I started really looking at all of the album credits.
Ah, yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? I
yeah.
started checking out the credits, and it wasn't just rap music, it was gospel music, all this. Because my parents had a bunch of gospel music, and I would
Hmm.
listen to that stuff, and it was dope to me, like really dope. And then I'll go to my cousin them house, and he had all the Parliament Funkadelic stuff, and then my auntie had all the Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, whatever, and then my other cousin had all the hip hop. And so I would just be listening to all that, everything. Like I listen
Yeah.
to classical music, straight ahead jazz music. My father introduced me to jazz music. And so like
Word.
it was all those things I started watching and reading the credits. And it was crazy because on all these, like a lot of these albums, from
Mhm.
gospel to R&B, not necessarily hip hop, but like pop music, jazz music, it was like a few guys that was playing on all the records.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 For sure. For
You would
sure.
see two names that
Yeah.
I remember right now. One was Greg Fillinganes,
Hmm.
and the other was his guy named Jerry Peters.
Okay. Okay.
Jerry Peters was on. He went to LA high school, LA native.
Mhm.
Went to Cal Arts. He was at 18. He was Sonny and Cher's MD. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He like did a
Hey.
bunch of stuff. When I met him when I was 16, and he took me under his wing and started
Wow.
showing me everything, and I got to really learn at his feet a bunch of stuff. Like,
Wait,
and
when you met
then,
him, who he was? You
huh?
knew who he was. When
Oh
you met
yeah,
him, you knew who he was. Oh, okay. Okay.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
had read all his albums because I was so when I was 16,
Wow.
I joined this band called New Vision. It was all Hispanic gospel band, but they all sounded black.
Really?
And they were auditioning keyboard players, and I went out and auditioned. I got the gig, and Jerry Peters was their producer. They
Ah.
were
Okay.
signed
Oh,
Word Epic Records,
yeah.
and I,
Fire.
I I was involved on their second did one album. I was involved with the second one in the studio, working with him and them, and just really learning. And crazy, like right after that album came out, we toured some, and then right after that, my homeboy DJ Rogers introduced me to DJ Quick. I'm a senior in
Wow.
high school now.
Wow.
And then
Come on.
Quick is the one, when I saw what he was doing, I was like, so I took the stuff that the knowledge that I learned about arranging, strings,
Yeah.
vocal technique, vocal production, mixing and all that stuff with Jerry. And
Hmm.
then Quick started just showing me stuff. Just he would allow me to be he didn't give me hands on like he wasn't showing me like, oh, do this, do that at first.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got around to that, but at first he would just allow me to be in the room because I came as as a keyboard player playing, but I would stick around and just watch him make beats. And
Okay.
he didn't kick me out the room. He didn't say like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, because most of the guys that was hanging around, they would leave the room while he started digging through the crates and looking for samples and stuff like that. And I'd be in the corner just watching him. And I know at some point I'm sure he was like probably trying to figure out like, why is this kid staring at me like this? But I wasn't staring at him. I was just like, and I was
Yeah.
mesmerized, like how he could take a sample over here off this record and two other records, get something off of there, and some kind of way work them together where they sound like a song. When you
That's
put them
crazy.
together, they sound like a whole nother different thing. And then he put drums on top of that, and it sounded like this. Then he go on top of that
Wow.
and play a bass line and the keyboard on top of that. I'm like, it was really mind blowing. And then one day he went to the bathroom, and I walked up on his little drum machine, and I started hitting the pads like, oh man, what's this? So I read what it was. It said Akai MPC 62. I wrote it down.
Wow.
I'm gonna buy me one. So I went to the recycler newspaper
Yeah.
and started looking for them, looking for used ones. I found one for like $800 or something like that. Bought it, and I came to Quick. I said, "Hey man, I bought that drum machine you got." He was like, "What?" And so he ultimately he ended up giving me a bunch of his sounds. He gave me a
Wow.
whole briefcase with all his discs in there,
That's
but like from his all his albums, everything was in there. He said, "Take this home, go through, pick some stuff you like," and I sampled. It was so much, so I copied a few. I didn't copy everything, but I copied a lot of it.
right.
And he started just showing me stuff. I would bring him my beats. He was like, "You still not a producer yet, but you a good writer.
Oh, I like
You
that.
you
I
you a
like that.
good writer.
Yeah.
So like, just keep working on it, because you getting there. Like I
He
would
see
live
where you
playing.
going. Yeah. I like
He saw
that.
where it's going, but like, and then after that, he just literally started pouring into me. Every time I saw him, he was like, "Hey, I just check this out. Try this, try that. I just learned this. Watch this, watch the. And
Yeah.
I just started feeding off of that, man, until I just kind of found my way. You know what I'm saying? Between
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
guys like Battle Cat lived up the street from me, And I was at his house all the time, watching him make beats, asking him questions, doing stuff with him. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
I was very fortunate to work with those guys, and I was really young. I was still a teenager. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I'm talking about and see it like legendary. You know what I mean? Like you like because you coming up as youngin who's learning under
Yeah,
these legendary figures. These cats have been putting down Uncle Jam's Army and DJ Quick with the red tape and all the stuff he had going on, and you're learning music. And at this point, they know you have a love for music, not even on who you're going to be at the time. But it's about passing the torch in a sense, or
yeah,
just helping. It's like DJ Quick reminds me of he's one thing I love about Quick is he's so nerdy about the music, right?
he
I
loves the
love
science.
he loves the science of it. So he'll talk to you forever about why this sound is doing that, what's kind of what new equipment or what this thing is doing, right? It's kind of how when it's kind of like when I talk to a younger version of that, when I talk to Lawrence, he's geeking out over new equipment. Lawrence
Mm,
talks like music like that. But when I hear the story of because as you're saying it, I'm like watching it, right? Because I'm looking at you're meeting these dudes and playing with these guys, and I'm looking at it like, oh, it's three legendary figures that are like building to be greater and building a bigger name for the future, right? But it's like I get to watch it in hindsight, right?
mm,
Um, and it's real interesting because people see the quote unquote like what they think finished version of who a Warren Baby Dub Campbell is, right?
yeah.
They know they got the discography, the Grammys and all these things, and then when they hear these stories, even the way you talk about it is, which I love, but that's who you are, very humbling. It's like, man, my dad gave me this, and I got this. I got my equipment, and I sat in the studio, and because I was so amazed by Quick and Battle Cat, even the way you're talking about it. But I think it's a testament to what makes you great and how you were going to be anyway. You know what I mean? I think
Oh
that's
man, I was
super
being a
cool.
student. A student,
Being
like
a student,
listen. I mean, ABL. That's my mantra. Always be learning. It's bad English, but good theology. Always be learning.
I like that. Always
You know
be.
what I'm saying? Yeah,
I
because
like
I
that.
listen. The moment you feel like you got it and you don't got nothing else to learn, it's a wrap for you, man.
Yeah,
A wrap for
yeah,
you, man. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to figure out what the next move, next thing is, what's the next technology, the next sound, just digging into crazy. And then going back in the past and digging, learning, why, trying to figure out why this person played that note. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Why did John Coltrane bend that note like that? Like that was it instinct? Was it something he did a lot? So I now got to go listen to all his music to see if he did it again. And all this just it's this
yeah.
deep dive. Music is infinite, man. It never stops. It never stops. You can just dive, and it's like, oh, it's just
And
this vortex of just creativity that just you can get washed by it, man.
I've been watching. I got to finish watching two documentaries. I watched for the first time. I know I'm a little late to the party, but I watched Hitsville, the documentary.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
first of all Hitsville documentary. For anybody who listen and watching, Hitsville documentary. Even if you don't do music, it will change your life.
yes,
Um, Barry, it's like you know the genius of Barry Gordy. We know it already, but to watch him do certain things and hear these stories on how they were putting things together, it was absolutely insane and
mm.
amazing. And it's like, oh, they were better than I even thought they were. They
Oh,
were
way
better,
better.
way, way better than I even thought. And as you listen to these stories, you just like, what? You know what amazed me too? I also watched Yacht Rock. I just watched Yacht Rock.
Yes, that's dope
Um,
too.
that was super dope. And I was tripped out how certain people have a different kind of ear for music. And it's there's certain things you can learn, right? But certain stuff just be certain stuff just be in you in a sense. Some people just got it in them. Certain
Mm.
like because real quick they talked about a part when they talked about a part where um, my man from Toto was had a recording section, and one of the
David Pate,
guys
yeah,
right. One of the guys had wrote the song that he was thinking like, they don't really want to use it. It was a song he wrote. He said, man, the guys ain't this ain't really their thing, but he loved the song. So he had it playing in the studio, and Quincy Jones was walking by,
yeah,
and he stopped. He said, hey man, what's that? What's that record right there? And they had that conversation like, oh man, I wrote something, but the guys don't really want to. He said, man, let me get that. Play that over here. Let me get that over here. And that turned out to be Human Nature.
Human Nature, Jeff
And
Porcaro and David Pate, yeah.
man, and I'm just like, wait a minute.
And Steve
Oh,
Luthiker, the
and
guitar player.
to your point earlier, right? The watching that documentary was once they start talking about all them records, and you like, wait a minute, Michael McDonald on this, and that, and they
Yep.
played on this, and that. All these people doing it. They were all playing on Michael Jackson records and all these other records. It was
Hmm.
like the same musicians. You
Same
know, even when you talk
guys.
about right, same guys, and if you talk about I mean, this was a little different in a sense, but same. Even when you talk about Motown and the Funk Brothers, how they played on everything basically, right?
Everything. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be that guy. So now I'm
Yeah.
out here, I'm playing on quick stuff. I'm doing stuff for Cube. I'm doing stuff for Cam. I'm doing stuff for playing on Domino, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Playing like all kind of just different,
Yeah.
like anything that was moving in LA when I was a teenager, I'm in there playing on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So your thing was word of mouth, essentially, right? It's like
yeah,
you you met Quick through the DJ partner, right? And then you end up meeting Battle Cat, and then I mean at that point it's just like, oh, such and such play, or you be at the studio with Warren and maybe somebody else, and I mean Quick or whatever, and then because I'm like
yeah,
you played on a lot of stuff before you got
yeah.
your name. You were if people don't understand is how the work that gets done before the world knows you, right? It's
Oh
like you did
yeah.
a
And then
whole
credits
thing.
back then really mattered because like when Quick's album Safe and Sound, which is his third studio album. Yeah. Safe and Sound came out and my name is on there a bunch of times, I start getting calls. Like,
Ah,
and
okay.
people that didn't even have my number, they would call because now the studio is listed, credited too. They would call the
Mhm.
studio. So it was called Skip Sailor Recording. They would call there looking for me. And the
Yeah.
guy Skip that owned the studio, Skip himself would call me, be like, "Hey Warren, listen, man, these guys are calling you, calling here for you." I'm like, "Okay." So,
Wow.
and that happened a lot. You know what I mean? That happened a lot.
Yeah.
So he says, "Listen, man, since at least you can do is do the session over here, so he can get some money
Right.
too. Of
Right.
course, but these are
Right.
all guys I met through Quick.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I
Wow.
wouldn't even know Skip Sailor if it wasn't for Quick or a Stan the Guitar Man, like like all these guys that were like pivotal in music back then. Yeah.
Yo, my man, shout out to my man GFS Blackout in the chat. He made a comment here, and I want to see I want to hear what you think about this. So first, he said, "This is where I asked, who are the Hall of Fame engineers?" Right?
Ooh.
I think maybe talking about at that time, maybe. And then he says this. He says because there's a difference between how a producer sees something versus how an engineer may structure the sound. It's a soundscape itself, right? Um,
Yeah.
what
Now,
do you
let me say this about that.
okay, okay.
Guys like DJ Quick, Battle Cat, and a few other cats. Most of those guys are producers, but they are also engineers.
They are engineers for
Dr.
sure.
Dre, engineer.
Yeah,
These guys shape their own sounds.
yeah,
You didn't mess with their sound. They tell you what they want it to
right,
sound like.
right, for
So it's a
sure.
totally different thing. Like, you have some producers that say here and just make this sound like something. No, Quick
Mhm.
is like, no, this is how I want it to sound. And if you can't do it, watch out. I'm gonna do it myself. Quick's mixing his own records.
Yeah,
Dre's mixing his own records. Battlecat's mixing his own records. You know what I'm saying? They got
yep.
some guys who would come in and mix, but like for the most part, those guys, and now I'm not an engineer.
Hmm.
I know how to hire the right engineers and guys that I
Sure.
teach my sound. Like I want it to
Yeah.
sound like this, and then that kind of thing. So I've always had long time engineers with me.
Mhm.
I'm on my third engineer now in 30 years.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, and so these guys I hire, they stay with me 10, 12 years, until they move on to do something else. And I hire another guy, and he'll be with me for a while and learn my
Mhm.
sound. And that's the way I do it. But there was engineers back in the day. One guy I can think of right now, his name was Chris Purnham.
Okay.
Chris worked at Skip Sailor. Chris was good. He was a great guy. I haven't seen him in many many years. Another guy named Dave Hinsey back
Hmm.
then, who was great. And I'm drawing blanks right now, but there's a bunch of guys that worked at Death Row during that
Word.
time, which was a hard time to be an engineer at Death Row because
What?
listen, I seen one of these guys, you know, rest in peace, Tupac. But man, that dude was hard. Like he. I'll never forget one particular thing. QD3 was coming in, and QD3 worked on a particular format called ADATs. It's like
Okay.
VHS tapes that you can record on, right?
Yep.
And he had to rent the ADAT. So first of all, we're working in sessions from from 7 at night to 7 in the morning around the clock, and these guys are exhausted. So one of the
Yeah.
guys forgot to order the ADATs for the incoming session for the next day. And so QD3 gets there with his tapes and everything, but they don't have the ADATs. Tupac locks the door and smacks this dude up. Like, I did not tell you to get the. And he still had to show up to work the next day.
Wow.
It was like these guys were under a lot of pressure. I felt bad for him, man. It couldn't have been me. They had to shoot me for that. What I'm saying? You're not gonna smack me up. And I
Right.
think
Right.
everybody around there knew that about me too. They didn't really, I never got no in those
Yeah.
situations like that.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Death
But
Row was
yeah.
Death Row. Not to harp on this, but Death Row was that kind of environment where there's the stories that you hear about the artists, and you obviously Snoop and the Jays and Dog Pounds and all that, right? But I like that because I was always thinking like it had to be tough to be the guy who go gets the food and the water and stuff like that, or
Oh
the
yeah.
runner. It had to be tough to be a runner. It had to be tough to be an engineer, or because I know they was going through it.
Yeah,
Them times.
bad. It was bad, man. But the thing is, a lot of those guys they came out of that a lot better and stronger though too, because that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
pressure you got to rise to the occasion. Either you're going to quit, sink. It's like
Yep.
sink or swim. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When you swimming against the rough current, either you're gonna sink or you're gonna become a stronger swimmer. Now,
For
I mean
sure.
that's the silver lining in the cloud. None of that stuff should have been happening like that.
Right. Right.
But
Right. let me
lemons, you make lemonade, brother.
let me ask you. When did you feel like um you are now producing? Like when did that time? You remember that time came? Like you're a producer. You're not just a beat maker. You were telling people how because I've watched you. I've had the pleasure of watching you in the studio take sit at the beat machine, to the keyboard, play keys, get the beats, do the bass line, do that, whatever, and also sing it like this. Oh, that's not the right note, or you're off key, and
Mhm.
all these things. I've watched you write, not like actually rap out lyrics, but you know how you do the
Oh
like you
yeah,
make a flow for somebody to come in and feel it, right?
yeah,
So I'm watching you fully produce records. When did you realize that I mean, when did you when was it real for you that, oh, I'm producing? Because remember, because DA Quick said, you're not a producer yet. So when
right.
did that come?
Well, the first time somebody paid me to produce, that kind of sealed the deal. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm the guy now, right?
Right, right.
And because not just because I'm making the beat or playing this,
Yeah.
whatever. It's really because I'm the guy at this point that the record company trusts to deliver a finished product.
Uh,
I
yeah.
have to touch
Yeah.
it last. I got to sign off on everything, the budget and everything. So,
Yeah.
no matter who did the actual beat, I might hire a beat maker. Like Quincy Jones
Right.
produced Thriller. He didn't touch anything. He didn't touch a
100%.
drum machine, a key, nothing.
100%. Yep.
But he's responsible for all of it. So he's the one making the
Sure.
calls. You do the beat, you play the drums, you play the bass, you play the guitar, and even right here, play that. You know what I'm saying? And just directing and producing and everything like that. And so I think for the most part, when that started to happen frequently, where people will call me to say, "Listen, we got this project we want you to produce. Here's
Mm.
this money, here's this budget." And then I had
That,
to go work with that. That's when I started feeling myself as a producer. Now, for the most part, because I had done so much previously playing and programming, I started off as a self-contained guy where I did
mm.
everything myself. I
Okay.
would, maybe get with a songwriter and we'll write lyrics. But in terms of everything else in that studio, I would play all the instruments.
Mm.
I would direct all of and arrange all of the vocals and coach the vocalist, you know what I'm saying? Sit through the mix, make sure the mixture is doing, I would do all that stuff for years, a long
Yeah.
time, up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So
Oh,
now
really? Okay.
I produced
Okay.
from my Rolodex. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yep.
I can still go hands on, but like I just produced an entire Quincy Jones album. I mean, not Quincy Jones. I'm sorry, an entire Smokey Robinson album. I think it's coming out in about a month or so. Where I didn't touch anything. except for
We
one
talking
song. There's one song on there that I did the beat on
okay,
it, but the rest of the album is me directing. You know what I mean?
really?
Calling in musicians, and I got Trevor Lawrence, Paul Jackson Jr., Cornelius Mims, Michael Burrell,
You
Roy
know how
Cotton.
to get the job done.
Yeah,
Basically,
a bunch of
what to
guys,
do. Yeah,
Lena Burmouth singing, Mika Let singing, George Young doing choirs, all these, I'm
yeah,
directing.
for
And
sure.
it's still me producing. It still sounds like a Warren Campbell production.
And hearing you say that, it just reminds me that you can call yourself whatever you want, right? Like you said, it's like when the label paid me and it was my job to get that job done. That's what that's
That's
what
what I
because you
am.
can do anything, right? but but I mean, when the job is put on you to produce and you've produced a product, then
Yeah.
that's what it is. You're a producer, and I'm glad you said that too because I never want to get hung up on beat makers, producers, and then producers and
Mm.
executive producers or whatever. Like you said, Quincy didn't touch nothing. He just knew when to play what. That's why I hate the old conversation when people try to, keyword, try, right? Try to say, well, Dre ended up making no beat. First of all, Dre's career is too long and extensive for you to
Right.
ever disrespect Dre in that kind of
Don't
way.
don't ever try to disrespect Dr. Dre, man. First of all, it was him making his beats at first, doing all the stuff. But if he don't ever make another beat again, there's a reason why when you listen to a Dre produced project, it sounds like Dr. Dre.
Exactly.
It just
Exactly.
it just sounds like his that's it, it's his it's
It
he
is
just
what it is.
used your hands to do
Right. right. Right.
it.
Let me ask you this. What's your first, what you consider your first big placement? It's
First
been a
big
while.
placement.
Been a while.
Yeah.
You think it's
I
supposed to
think the
be
first big
big, I
one,
guess.
first big one was probably, I think it's gonna have to be well, it's not a placement. I didn't write or produce this song, but Quick gave me a string arrangement credit
Really?
on the song Safe and Sound. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
that was dope. But then as a producer and
That
a
is dope.
writer, it would have to be a song by Shanice.
What?
The song was called. She was signed to LaFace Records at the time, and they put out a single on her that I produced, called "When I Close My Eyes." And
Wow.
that was and I remember just right. I at the time I didn't travel outside of LA too much, but I would hear it on the radio every day on
Yeah.
92.3 The Beat, and Theo
Yeah.
being like, "Yo,
Yeah.
this is Shanice." When I close my, I'm like, "Yo, this is Theo's."
How's that feel?
Man, it was crazy. It was crazy, like to see that, and then I went down to
wow.
the video shoot, and Theo from the Beat was at the video shoot. I was like, man,
Yo.
this is crazy. Oh man,
It-
I felt like I was on
and it's so LA. That whole story is so LA.
extra
You know,
LA.
going to the video shoot, Theo's there. At this point, I think we knew he was Asian. I'm not sure. Remember that whole thing?
No,
We
let
didn't
me
know he
tell
was
you
Asian.
something. I did not know he was Asian until one day I was standing outside of Can-Am Recorders, which was Death Row Studio, and Quick was standing there talking to him. So I pull up, get out the car. I'm like, "What up, Quick?" He was like, "Hey, you know who this is?" I was like, "Nah." And he looked at Theo to say something. He was like, "Yo, what's up?" I was like, "Wait a minute." It blew my mind, man. It blew my mind. It was crazy.
Yo, we didn't know. That was a big thing
We
in
didn't
LA.
know.
We had no idea.
Mm, 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 mm.
So I
Crazy.
do want to talk about this, right? Because talking to you and about your accomplishments and your achievements, this whole thing will be a 9 hour interview and conversation. It's not about to be. So
Oh,
when you see this, what do you think of when you see this?
oh, hey, man. Yo, first of all, I'm going back. I'm 20. I'm 20 years old
Mm,
when I meet them, right?
mm,
And I've never done a gospel project before in my life at this
right?
point. And so I meet them. I'm really interested in one of them for real. Like I'm trying to holler at Erica,
Mm,
and they come out to my house. They sing. I'm like, oh, they dope. And so we just start writing songs. You know what I'm saying?
wow.
And but it brings me back to a time where I was
What time
fresh,
they are group?
huh?
They are a group at that time.
They're not.
Oh, they're not a group. Okay, okay.
They're not a group. They never really sung together like that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Maybe I think they sung together once or twice at church, but they weren't
Mhm.
they weren't a group. Uh, but like it just takes me to a time where things were like just fresh. Like
Yeah.
and super excited. I was excited just to be making the music, but I didn't know what we were doing in terms of like there was no
Wow.
goal. It was
Wow.
like other than like the pinnacle, the zenith of
Mhm.
the experience for me is in the studio when the song is done and we finish and we all put it on the big speakers and play back and everybody love it. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Everything else from that moment on is downhill. It's like,
Right.
yeah, that's it. I got a buddy of mine named Harold Lilly. We share that same sentiment. Like it's like, man, when it's done, it's dope. All the marketing and promotion and it doing all that stuff. That
Yeah.
stuff is. I've learned to
Yeah.
love that over the years, but back then I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like whatever.
But we would
Yeah.
sit there and make music, man, for the love of making music. And then it was so good. I said, man, y'all should like be a group because we were just writing songs. Like I don't even know
Yeah.
why we were doing it. We were just. I thought they
Just
were
love,
dope.
love the music, recording, writing songs. Now, were
Was it?
y'all writing? Was it gospel? The
Yeah,
songs you
like
were writing?
one of the
Okay.
first songs we wrote was this hit song "Shackles,"
Wow.
and I just thought it
That's
was dope. I was like, this is dope. Like let's write some more. I didn't have a reason. I don't know what I was gonna do with that music for real.
this would this would so first of all I may be very big in stature, but I'm a hopeless romantic, right? So what amazes me, I think the beautiful another one of the beautiful parts of this story is that how I look at life, right? Now hindsight is 2020. At this point, I'm thinking Warren, this producer, loving music, creating, living life, trying to make a career for himself, building right, and doing so. And he meets these two young ladies, and he's interested in one of them, Erica, right? And he's like, hey, let's work, and and you don't know two things. You don't know that this is about to be your wife. One of them is about to be your wife soon,
Mm,
somewhere down the line, which you have no idea yet. This is about to be your wife, and which family, beautiful family, the whole thing, right? And also, you're about to, which I was told. Roddy Jerkins told me years ago. Man, you can produce all the hits you want. He said, everything changes when you break an artist, right? So, and he said you're about to also put together a group and break an artist on a whole different level. It wasn't even a small scale. Out the gate,
yeah,
shackles,
yeah,
right? So life at this point is like what? Like that feeling that you set that high. You record all the music, you listen to it back in the speakers, boom. But technically the ride's not over. Not the music part, right? Because like you said, marketing and all that stuff, that's one thing. But remember, there's still an interest here in one of these women,
yeah,
right? I
yeah.
still like one of these girls, and it's about to be your wife. Like, you know what I mean?
About to be
It's
my
about to be the
wife.
mother of your kids. It's about to be the queen of the castle. And
Yeah.
and it's beautiful when you can see it in that kind of way now. Like I can see it now, but I think that makes the story that much beautiful that this is about to happen. That's why I said, what do you feel when you see this album? Because for me, I see obviously hit record, gospel great, and then the great albums that came after that too. Like remember out the gate, y'all was like boom, 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 right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Five straight. Boom.
what? Killing them, right? And
Yeah,
but yeah, that part too is like because the music business stuff is gonna be the music business stuff. You're gonna have to deal with people arguing with
yeah,
folks, trying to get stuff, and groups is already can be a headache, and they sisters on top of sisters on top of women sometimes can be at each other sometime, and it's the whole thing. But yeah, it has to be. It's an amazing time that maybe even sitting in it, sometimes we don't realize. I think not that you don't, but you know,
I mean, I, it's funny, man. I didn't realize any of it.
right?
And then when you're in the middle of it, like when you are a part of history, you rarely know it. I have a sense
Hmm.
that is happening. There's something crazy happening because my life is changing. Literally, like
Right,
you know
right.
what I'm saying. It's like once Shackles came out, it was my phone went crazy. I'm getting calls like and I'm hanging with. Tone and Pope from the Track Masters, because they're the one that
Mhm.
gave me the deal at Columbia to do this thing with them. And it was like, if you look at that album, it's executive produced by Warryn Campbell and Tone and Pope from the Track Masters.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they
Wow.
they like really shepherded me in that whole thing. So shout out to them as well. But yeah, I didn't know like everything was about to change, man. Like New York was about to open up for me in a way it never had before. Because mind you, I'm coming out of that whole Death Row thing, East Coast, West Coast, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff I was taking personal. Like I was like it's me. Because
Yeah.
when that dude got killed at the party with Jermaine Dupri,
Yeah.
that was my homie Big J. You know what I'm saying? Like I
I
love
didn't
that
know
dude.
that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, it was, I took it kind of personal. And then the fact that this whole thing got kicked off, really, the interest in Mary Mary and me putting them together as a group and all that, and putting them out commercially, got kicked off with a meeting with Puff
Wow.
that I did not want to go to because I didn't really like that dude because of, the East
Oh,
Coast, I'm
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
down with I'm down with Death Row. So I get a call from my brother at the time. I was hanging with Heavy D a lot. Heavy he was my brother, man. This dude was like literally my big brother, right? He calls me.
Yeah.
He was
Wow.
like,
Wow.
"You ain't never met Puff before, huh?" I said, "Nah." He was like, "You want to meet him?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." Just like that, like, "Nah, I don't want to meet him." He goes, "Man, quit being an idiot, man. Like he has this thing, that he's trying to put together." He said, "I think you're a little too far along for his other thing, the Hitman with all the producers. Like I mean, you're a little bit more successful than a lot of those guys already, but he has this 5-man A&R team he wants to put together, kind of like a starting five A&R team that I think you should be. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, I'm cool. Like he says, man, if you don't quit playing around, man, and get down here, he said, I'm gonna call your mom. I was like, call my mom. So obviously I came down there because I did not want him calling my mom, like her tripping on me. And so I go down there, and of course, he was mad, just arrogant, like, but I got a chip on my shoulder as well.
Mhm.
Because I don't like him already. So I had two dats in my hand. At the time, I was working on the second Drew Hill album. We had just put out their big
Woo.
hit, How Deep Is Your Love for Me and produced by myself and Dutch and Nokio from the group.
You did these other times too?
No, I want to
You played?
say no. That's these are the times. I think it's Babyface.
Oh, you did do that. Okay, okay,
I think
okay.
Babyface did that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did
that
How
second
Deep
album.
Is Your Love, the first
Oh
the
yeah,
big single.
yeah, yeah. Fire,
That stuff. But no,
fire.
so I had some songs from that album I was working on, and I had some Mary Mary records on that tape. So I walked in, I'm in the lounge, me and Hev talking. Puff walks in, he don't even look at me. He walked past me like, "What you do?" Automatically, I feel I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Adding on to the right.
Woo! I'm in. This is my town too. I'm like, I said I produce records like you. That's exactly what I said. He was like, he looked at me like, all right. He was like, what you got? And so I played the record. He was like, "Oh, that's dope." I played him a Drew Hill record. He was like, "Oh, that's dope. I like that. I like that. What you got?" He said, Heavy told me that you come from church and stuff. I'm working on this gospel project, this bad boy gospel thing." I said, "I got a gospel group that I'm working on." He was like, "Let me hear something." I play him Shackles. He starts jumping up and down on the couch, like
Wow,
going crazy, like, "I want to sign him. I want to sign him." I said, "All
wow.
right." So we start, and it turned into this whole thing. I'm like, okay. And everything kind of like melted and softened. Like, I was like, okay, he talking different now. And I'm seeing
Yeah.
things different. I'm like, okay. We start talking deal and money, and it's a lot of money he talking about. I'm like, okay, let's see what's up. Um,
Oh, just technical
the rest of the
difficulties.
industry wanted it after that.
Wait, one minute. You blanked out for 1 second. What? Okay, he said,
Uh-oh, we got to
"Okay, let's
start.
talk." No, you good. You good now. You said, "Okay, let's talk." And what happened? You hear me? Hold up. You, oh, okay.
You got me?
Yep, I hear you. Yep, yep.
Oh, okay. All right. That was stuck for a minute. All right.
You said, "Okay, let's talk." And then what happened?
All right. So, and when then a bidding war started because when the rest of the industry found out that Puff wanted this group,
Ah, yeah.
now I'm
Everybody
getting
wants.
flown everywhere, all over to meet all the presidents, not A&R people, they're bosses, like chairmen,
Wow.
and I'm playing this on Shackles. And every time I play this on Shackles, people lose their mind. Like, I'm like, hmm. We
Was
got
Stomp
something.
already out? Was Stomp out before?
Yeah,
Stomp was
Stomp had
out.
been out.
Yeah, okay, okay, got it.
Stomp
Okay.
came out in 97, 98.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's way out. Okay, okay, okay.
So this is 99 right now. And
So
Shackles comes out towards the end of 99, like November 99, something like that.
I asked that because I remember. So I remember first of all how big Stomp was already, and then Shackles because they played Shackles at my cousin's reception when they walked out. They played Shackles, right, and everybody
Mhm.
was dancing, and it was trippy to me how I've never seen people react to gospel like that other than like Stomp, right? Like no matter people that weren't even believers was dancing to Stomp and Shackles,
Yeah.
right? And because they like crossed over crazy. But I also remember the side conversation, right? Because if you do gospel, you know how it goes. They're gonna be the holier than thou, holy
Yeah,
rollers, right?
yeah.
Like, oh, this ain't gospel music and this ain't that and all that, whatever. So I know, did y'all have to deal with some of that? Some of the criticism from
I did because before that, I wanted to do some gospel. I wanted to work with Yolanda Adams, Fred Hammond. I was sending their record companies beats and songs. And it was like they didn't like, my beat sounded how I didn't know how to do gospel, quote unquote
right.
gospel sounding
Yeah, yeah,
music.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm coming from Death Row. I know how to do that. I know how to make those
Yeah.
beats
Yeah, for
with some
sure.
melodies
Yeah.
on top of it. But the beats were so hard, I'm giving them like, what is this? It ain't gospel, right? So I said, man, I'm gonna have to make my own thing. Like, so I had like my friends like Rodney and different other
Yeah.
producers. Everybody was putting groups together, singing
Mhm.
groups. They had rappers and getting label deals, right? So I was like, my mentor, Big John Platt, always told me,
Shout out to Big
when everybody go right, shout out to Big John, he would always say, when everybody go right, you go left. Everybody doing this, you do the other thing. I'm like,
John.
so everybody signing R&B groups, girl groups, guy groups, rappers. I said, yo, it'd be dope if I just do a gospel group, but like I'm gonna do it how I do it. Like my flavor, it'll just be gospel lyrics.
Yep.
And that's what we did. I did that, but really it was, because nobody wanted to really fool with me in gospel. It was like, and then we finally came out, it was like it was too secular sounding, to this, to that. And so it
Mm,
wasn't gospel radio that put Mary Mary on. The first person to put it on, a program director by the name of Larry Jackson, who
wow.
now owns Gamma.
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
Larry Jackson
Yep.
was the PD at KMEL in San Francisco.
Wow.
He got the record. He was mad young. He got the record and he put it on. Go upstairs and talk to Mr. Beach, buddy. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
He
They
got
ain't
the
got a family.
record
Got a
and
family. What
put
I'm
that
gonna do?
on and started and it blew up. But it was Larry
Wow.
Jackson that started the whole thing. And then after
Yeah.
that, then gospel music was like, oh no, they belong to us. Then it was like, then they started showing us
Ain't that
love.
something how that happens, right? The record is big now. It's
Yeah,
catching now, and then they say, "Oh no, wait a minute, that's ours."
yeah,
Let me ask you, not to change, not to switch, but it's interesting because that kind of same thing happened with Kanye and Jesus Walks,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And obviously, you remember that it wasn't it now by hip hop we accepted it was dope. Like hip hop was just dope. Um, we got a little bit of technical difficulties. Hold on, my peoples. Oh, there we go. You hear me? You hear me? You got me right here. I hear your sound on the mic on the other end.
oh,
You got me. You right there. You got you. I got you.
you got lost.
I'm here. Technical difficulties, peoples. You hear me?
Uh,
Let me see. I'm about to text them right now. Let them know. I see you. Okay, he probably gonna jump back in. Um, I love this conversation. First of all, shout out to all the people that's in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through and listening and hanging out. We're gonna finish up Warren. Warren's gonna jump back in a second. Let me see. Bam. You be good, Warren?
Oh, there we go. I got cut off.
Ain't nothing technical difficulty, man. We gonna work it out. Um, okay, you were saying, I kind of forgot where we was at. Um, oh, Kanye Jesus Walks thing and
Oh yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
people looked at that because hip hop kind of accepted Jesus Walks out the gate. Kanye had to pay for it out of his own money because the record company didn't want to support it because they didn't believe that record would do anything. It ain't no record you're gonna be talking about Jesus and hip hop. That's not gonna work, right?
Right.
And then it worked better, way better than they thought. Um, but I do want to talk about how right when you talk about gospel music. First of all, when you do with anything, um, let's talk about Christianity first. And we're not. I'm from a music standpoint. Um, it's almost like with gospel music, it's almost like people have this idea of what it's supposed to sound like, right? And and though it can be many years past, there's music can evolve, grow, change, all these things. So I never understood the problem with shackles in the way it sound, or stomp in the way it sound, or
Mm,
Jesus walk. My thing was, I'm like, well, I mean, the music speaks, but it can't like vocalize, right? So if somebody's glorifying Jesus Christ on the record, what's the problem? Even like no matter what it sounds like, what is the
yeah.
now? And maybe it's just some things I maybe don't haven't learned yet myself, or I just don't have a problem with that. But I don't understand what's the big deal about if I do quote unquote hip hop beat under somebody praising Jesus Christ. I don't understand what's the problem with that. I never
You
got that.
know,
And, mhm,
um, everybody that's institutionalized is not necessarily in jail.
boom, there it is.
You know what I'm
There
saying?
it is.
And so when you've been just doing this narrow mind, being like this for a long time, you go
Yep.
like, it can only be this. If it's
Yeah.
not this, then it's not the right thing. So, I understand the gospel to be the good news of Jesus Christ.
For sure.
That is lyrical. That
Hmm.
is in the content and
Yep.
what is being said, not necessarily the sound. And
Right.
so I'm thinking, as long as if I'm glorifying God on this record, but it sound like, you know what I'm saying? It sound like the chronic, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's my way of expressing that.
For sure.
But I'm talking the right talk. It's about the lyric and what we're saying. It's about the
Exactly.
word. The word is the word. But music carries a spirit. It does.
Yeah. For sure.
It definitely does. I mean, music is moved through sound. Sound moves through air. So in
Right.
air and spirits are in the air. So you
Hmm.
definitely have that element. But if it's coming from the right person, from the right place, with the right spirit, it doesn't matter what it sounds like. It's like, how does it make you
Yeah.
feel?
For sure. For
You know what I'm
sure. I
saying? And
think that's
so
a great point.
that's what I lean on more than anything. I never let nobody tell me because I genre bend, man. I'm a be honest. I don't do well making an album that sounds like this one sounding thing. Like every song on this album will sound like something that came out of nowhere.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? Like it's gonna listen to those Mary Mary albums. It's just like you're like, man, this is one of these joints is super hip hop. One is super like got a little churchy. One sound like a Ray Charles record. One sound like
Yeah. But I
one
think
to
I
sound
think
like a Kanye record with samples. It's just all kind of different things.
people, like you said, people in this little box, this imprisonment, locking themselves into a certain kind of sound, and the music starts to sound the same. Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I want to be able to. I want to be uplifted in the way I'm uplifted. Like if I hear a song and this song makes me look, the song says, "Get the shackles off my feet so I can dance." That's what is the problem? You know what I mean?
Then
What is
then it says, I just want to praise you right after that.
that's it? That's it. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do.
That's all. I ain't asking for nothing.
That's what. That's what. That's what I want to praise. Hey, I love that, man. so so you break Mary Mary, hit out the gate, boom, hit album, right? Life changes, right?
Life
Let
changes.
me ask you,
I'm on private jets. I'm going to talk. I'm hanging with
man,
Clive Davis and
life
it,
changes.
I, listen. Clive giving me my own personal table at the Clive Davis Grammy party. I got
Wow.
it's a lot of things. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Now, how are the ladies? handling this newfound fame and life, and now they're stars now. Boom, they're stars in the gospel world. Here's the thing about them too:
Yeah,
they're stars in the gospel world and in the secular world.
yeah, because their
So,
music is on gospel radio and hip hop
oh
R&B
no.
stations. Yeah,
So how are they handling that at that time? Because it's pressure too. I
I
know it's
think it's
pressure.
as well as it can be expected. And the funny thing is, it's probably a conversation me and them have never talked about. We've never talked about, like,
Oh really? Okay.
because we're so grounded. Like, we both come from large families. Like, you better not think you bigger than nobody else. Like, you can
For sure.
what?
100%.
Oh my God! Like, it's not. They would go
Right.
home and get right back in the choir and sing at their church. You know what I'm saying? It was.
Yeah.
Listen,
But
I
that
went
that
right back. I'm on the organ at Fayetteville Central playing on Sunday mornings, like whatever. It's not, you
but
know.
that's also that foundation, right? We talk because it's big families. And y'all so grounded in church that your idea, first of all, your idea of your love and your relationship with God won't even allow that ego to show itself to show. Because first of all, ego always going to play a part somewhere. There's going to be times where
Oh yeah,
you
everybody
don't have
got one.
everybody got an ego. It's gonna show up here and there, but that foundation and that big family all keeps you in check, right?
Yeah,
Because you
yeah,
cannot feel if there come to a point where you feel like it's just you that good that you did this on your own. That's when that conviction starts to set in, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
That's right. That's when you about to fall off right there.
That's
It's
what,
like quick dive. Like as soon as you think
right.
as soon as you think,
What?
oh, it's me. I did it.
Oh,
No, it's over.
oh, you? All right. God, like, all right. Let me take all this off and see what you. Let's see what you
Let
do
me
without
let
me.
me let me take my hand off you and see how well you do.
Like right. Let me see how good you do, right? But that's that man.
Man,
That's an amazing thing, and I always loved the fact that you. First of all, to break an artist, um, to break an artist is already an amazing thing. I know life is about to change, and then also at that time, did you have? Was it a my block or is it not a my block yet?
yeah.
Oh, it is my block. Okay,
They like Mary was basically signed to my label, my block.
right.
It was a production company first, but then when
Right.
they started taking off, I changed that deal from a production deal to a label deal,
The label
and
deal.
changed it from a production company to a label. And then, I did a deal with Sylvia Rowan at the time to bring it
Mhm.
over there, and she gave me a job as A&R vice president of A&R over there for a while. But
Okay.
actually, the last 2 years at that election was in existence.
Oh, really?
And it was a great training ground for me because I was like, I want to expand my label, but let me go inside of a label and learn what's going on first.
For sure.
So
And
I,
I was
I
just going
was,
to ask you. I was just going to ask you about being running a label, right? From
yeah,
publishing company to label. What are some of the pros and cons of now you run a label? Now not just producing, not making just making music. Now you're dealing with personalities, with artists. That's
yeah,
a that's a thing, right? So
another animal.
what was some of the kind of like struggles I would say when it comes to like now I have a label and I'm starting to sign X. What were some of the maybe struggles that you came across?
Well, when you consider the fact that an artist is placing their ambitions and their dreams in your hand, that's another level of pressure and responsibility that you got to take serious. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Because it took me a very long time to realize this is not a thing where I can go produce the beat and go on about my business. This is not a job. This is not an absentee business. I got to be involved. I got to talk to them all the time. It took
yeah,
me a long, long time to figure that out because I did it one way for so long, just being involved in the studio. And then when I'm done in the studio, you don't hear from me no more. But these
right,
artists like, no, man, I signed to you. Like, you're
yeah,
responsible for me. I need to talk to you. What's going on? And I'm like,
yep,
talk to so and so. I hired some other people. Talk to them. No, they want to talk to me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it took me a long time to figure that out, but I'm at the place now where I'm mature enough to handle those conversations. And because artists they got questions, they come into a business where they don't know, so now I got to go, okay, now I got to teach.
hmm
Got to teach. I've lost artists that way where I wasn't prepared to teach. I wasn't prepared to explain certain things that was happening, and they just got disgruntled. I was on the phone with the parents of one of my artists that I worked with previously, who not on my label anymore. But I was like, this is where we messed up. When we're a team and
Hmm.
we have a losing season, you don't all the messed up thing or the wrong thing to do is dismantle the team. The best thing to do is
Mm.
adjust and say, okay, now let's go in next season. Let's do it again. Let's adjust our game. Or you don't quit the game because the first quarter you down the first quarter. No, you go back in the huddle. And I said, we just quit. We quit too soon. We did one album. We're supposed to do three or four. We
Yeah.
should have went back in, huddled, adjusted, and then went back at it. Go. I
Yeah.
said because the Mary thing, it took off quick, but it wasn't easy. We had to adjust
Right. For
a
sure.
lot. So
Wow.
but
Wow.
I think their success has more to do with us just staying with it.
Yeah, I hear that, and I hear you say that, and I think about how not even just in music, how and I can't even say younger generations because I find myself in these situations where people are just giving up like too easy.
Too easy, yeah.
Even in relationships, it's almost like, oh, such and such got married, then they got divorced in a year, and I'm like, wait, where's the work? What happened?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? And
You
people
gotta
are
you gotta put the
treating,
work in, and that's where the success comes from. And
yeah,
it took me a minute to realize that, in this group I'm talking about, I'm talking about anybody heard of the Walls group?
100%
Oh my God.
incredible.
Some of
Voices are
the
incredible.
best to ever do it, man. To me, they're the best group ever. So we did
Wow.
one album and we were supposed to do a few, but I'm like, I feel like we just gave up. I didn't realize it at the time,
Mhm.
but now in hindsight, I'm like, man, we should have just kept doing our thing and it would have worked out. But you live and you learn. So next time I won't give up so easy.
Yeah, the wall groups are amazing. All of them,
The
and
best.
yeah, it's like it's almost like I mean, think about it. That's the reason why contracts, or for example, you play for an NBA team and y'all don't make it to the playoffs, you don't start trading the whole team, right? You
No, you
start to make,
don't.
like
You
you said,
don't.
making adjustments.
Like in the
Like,
music business, we
mhm.
do that a lot of times. Like this didn't work. I gotta fire the manager. I gotta fire the label.
Yeah,
I gotta fire my MD. I gotta do it. But when really y'all should just band together and say, okay, what didn't work? Okay,
yeah,
okay, let's fix it. Can you? Because if it's one thing to be able to adjust and keep going, but like only time you want to get rid of somebody if they just can't do the job.
for sure,
That's
for sure.
that's a whole other thing. Like if we are
Yeah,
capable, because yeah, obviously we're all capable because we've done it before. Everybody's capable, but
yeah,
just in this scenario, we got thrown off because this didn't happen right. That okay, let's adjust those things. Okay, maybe that person we shouldn't have dealt with that. Let's fire that guy. Okay, now we got it. Let's move it. Let's try this again.
right.
Boom. Let's go make an even better album. Boom. Let's go. That kind of thing. And so now I see it different. I mean, that's a lesson I've learned recently in the last couple of years. And so now I'm like, okay, now I see it. I see it a lot differently now.
But that's why you have ABL. Always be
Always be
learning.
learning, baby.
Yo, so you and I wasn't because I mean we didn't physically talk. I mean we talked, but not about this person at that time. So I wasn't sure if they had signed or not. But I had the pleasure of working with one of my heroes in rap music, and through you, and well with you, and this person has one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time, right? That song would be Paper Thin. The artist
Oh,
would be MC Light,
MC
right?
Light,
First of all, it's light, right? We like I can't say enough about it
man.
just being light alone. Like for anybody who's old enough to know, light was and always will be her.
Yeah,
Period. Right.
she's been
So
her.
been her, been her, right? So, first of all, I thank you for that too, for allowing me
Oh
to.
man, it's still coming too. Like it's so many records left over from the one we was doing. The one that been
I,
when you did, it's a
yeah,
gang of
I'm
them.
already knowing.
Like
I'm
records
already
with
knowing.
you, records with Slick Rick, a bunch of them.
Oh
Just
wow! See, and I just
Tony Braxton. It's a lot of records we about to put out. Yeah,
as legendary, man. I'm excited about y'all. Put out the one project already, right?
yeah. It's called One of One, and
One
it's
of
on my block. She's out on the
one. Okay.
road touring, doing the One of One tour right now. She's
Oh,
been
okay.
on tour for 2 months, like touring,
So
doing the records.
everybody got that album. That MC like that one of one album
Yeah.
produced is it entirely produced by Warren Campbell.
Well, I'm the executive producer of the entire album. Then I
Cool.
have Knots on the album,
Not the
and
first or whatever. ever. Knots, one of the dopest ever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a bunch of guys on there. Easy Mo B's on the album. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
come on, man.
It's sick. It's
It's
sick.
legendary. You got to go get that album first of all. How was it? How did you guys come together and work? What happened with that?
So Light was signed to Elektra Records.
Hmm.
And while we kind of crossed paths while she was leaving, I was coming in. But then Heavy D is the one that really locked us together.
Oh, okay.
He
Dope.
put us together. He was like, man. And when Heavy passed, she kind of became him to me, like an older sibling. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Word. Dope.
and
Dope.
just really, man, just kind of took me under her wing. And she's also like, it's weird. She signed to me, to my label, but she's also my manager. So it's
That's
kind of like how Puff and Big was
exactly right.
when Puff became a
Ah,
artist. Big was his manager.
wow. What's funny, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's a and it's a different kind of level of respect that I love about that though.
yeah,
Also,
yeah.
it's light. Like
It's
you know
light.
what I mean? It's light.
And
So
what I noticed about Light in negotiating and doing things with it, like people don't, they just don't say, they don't like to say no to Light.
I
You,
wouldn't.
you ever met somebody that like most of everything that come out their mouth just makes good sense?
Yeah.
That's Light. She's just always making like really good sense.
Fam, when I walked in their studio, first of all, I had just talked to you, so I know who's in there. But when I walked in the studio and I saw this woman, my whole entire everything I fell in love with hip hop about all came back. It all came back. And I'm sitting there like I can't believe that he let me be in the studio with this person. Like, I'm glad that I got to tell her. We got to work. That's a blessing that I was able to even be a part of something that she's on, and she killed it. She liked my verse. I hugged her and told her, "Paper Thin is one of the greatest songs in hip hop history. Period. It's not up for
Wow.
debate with me." And I told her, and she was like, "Wow." She was like, "Man, thank you." And I was just like, "You are light. You are light." And that's enough for me fanning out, but. I don't care. I will forever be a fan of just these moments because I'm such a hip hop baby. Like you know
Yeah,
what I mean? We
yeah,
we we were born in it and of it. So when we out in the world and we start to meet these people and rub shoulders and do these things, I got to tell them everything that I've been thinking about how
yeah.
certain songs and moments changed my life or shaped the way I saw things or maybe the way I sound or perform. So meeting these people and I'm just like, fam, it's moments even with you. I know I'm going on a tangent, but it's moments even with you where I will be in the studio and I'll be sitting there like, excuse my language, but I'll be like, this nigga did, you know what I mean? You start telling yourself like, bro, he did that. He did okay. He was okay. Graduation. Then there was a Carl Thomas. Then there Drew Hill. Then there Mary Man. All these things you start telling yourself, and you just like. But the way you, I've been in some studios and some labels where there's the high and mighty. There's the super arrogant. But the way you always carried yourself was like just like, yeah, man, I'm just cool, happy. I'm just want to do music, want to create, love my
Yeah.
family. I just want to do music. I love to create. Like I'm laughing, I'm having a good time, and I always respected that. I always was like, that's super dope. So to
So
add
it's,
on the
man, it's a
top of the
blessing,
story,
man. Like, listen, there's so many people that are better than me that nobody
mm,
ever heard of, and they don't get the opportunity to do this.
man,
Just life circumstances took them in the past where they didn't get the opportunity to do what we do.
right,
And so
right,
I count it a privilege. It's a blessing, man, to be able to, like I do have a skill set and I'm confident in my skill set and I have command of my instrument in my hands. But like at the same time, what if my preparation never meets the opportunity? You know what I'm saying? And
right,
what if that happens and I just never get the opportunity? So I'm grateful every day that I get to do it. So I kind
right,
of like I check my ego and my all my skill set kind of at the door until somebody challenge me. That's a whole other thing.
right,
I'm
right, right.
quiet. I'm gonna do nothing until somebody start,
Yeah, yeah,
coming at me.
yeah.
Then I gotta be like, wait a minute, hold on now.
Look, yeah, I ain't a sucker either though. Don't try to play me and all that. So let me ask you this, and I know we got to go in a second, but I want to get here before anything. You he's done all these musical things, these great things. He won Grammys and big records and what if Grammys for Mary Mary, and it's like
Yeah.
there's levels of accomplishments and like for our new artists and songs and all these things, and then and wait, first of all, I do want to say shout out because man, this right, I was just looking at this. I was on your page. I was on your Instagram, and I was seeing this, and I was like, wait a minute, this is dope, man.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Gospel Hall of Fame 2025 inductee. Fam,
Yeah.
congratulations, bro.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations. That, like, I mean, I'm saying, like, I trip off these accomplishments because a lot of times these weren't things that I was trying to go out for. I was just doing music. I was playing church. I love God. I was playing in church, and I love.
Yeah.
And you get recognized of your career of just dope things, and then it feels good to be recognized as that and to be inducted to the Hall of Fame as an amazing. It's like you stand shoulder to shoulder with a lot of legendary folks,
Yeah,
a lot
man.
of
It's
legendary.
humbling, man. It's like, listen, I ain't trying to name drop. Like last night, I work with Stevie Wonder a lot, and last night I'm in the studio with him.
We go pause. We go pause right there. First of all, I don't let too many bars just slide. First of all, I work with Stevie Wonder a lot. Okay, my bad. You keep going.
But last night I'm in the studio with him, man. We ain't working. Like we literally spent 30 minutes clowning and laughing for 30 minutes, and I'm in here
Wow.
the hour. So like just it's like just to have those
Yeah.
moments. To it's like I take those things seriously. Two things that I didn't do in my career that I should have done. One, when I did have the opportunity to go in the room and work with Michael Jackson, I did not do that for whatever
Wow.
reason at the time. It was I don't know,
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
Mhm.
And another one was Luther Vandross. I did do the record on Luther Vandross, but he wanted me to he wanted me to come to his house and stay at his house with him in Connecticut.
Uh,
I ain't want
hey man.
to listen to
Hey,
laughing.
man, all right. Yep, cool. Yep.
I
All
was just
right.
like, nah, I don't know if I want to, and I didn't want to I didn't
Yeah,
want to
man.
disrespect him and go to the session and they'd be like, yeah, I'm bounced. I got a hotel room somewhere else. They're like, you didn't want to stay in my crib? Like, I didn't
Not
want
at
to,
all.
that's most, so I didn't
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I didn't go to the session.
Hey, man, I'm crying. He said,
Man,
"No,
I was like, I was trying to say, how do I say, but it
right,
ain't
right,
even for the obvious reasons. It was just like, I don't know this. I don't know. I don't want to say somebody's
right."
house I don't know like that.
However, it's both fun. It's hilarious, right? Because I'm like, yeah, like what?
Yeah, because imagine somebody you've never met. Come
Right.
stay at my house. But I've never met you before, fam. I don't know you at all. Like, uh,
Uh-huh. All
but I
right.
mean, he's being hospitable. I'm like, but
Sure.
in
Sure.
hindsight, man, like Warren now, I would have did it 100 times. That's Luther Vandross, but I didn't
Right, right,
think
right,
about
right,
it
right.
like that then. You
He
know what I'm
was
saying?
like,
I'm
he
20,
was like, nah,
22,
fam.
23. I was like, no, I'm cool. I don't. It's like right up there with like, don't talk to strangers. Like,
Oh man, that is funny.
and the song became a hit, and I met him later, and we was cool and everything, but it was like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, I should have just went over there and been, and I probably would have had a ball. I don't pause, but you know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh
Look,
man.
I can't tell you phrase. You did you guys ever put out did you guys ever put out the the is it the DMX the pray album?
Yes.
What's
Yeah. DMX. As an EP called
let
DMX.
us let us pray.
Let Us
Nope.
Pray.
Let's pray. Okay. Okay.
It's out. It's out now.
Oh no, okay, because I was
It's
cool.
super slept on too. I'm like, man, I just knew it was
Yeah.
gonna make way more noise, but I'm like, dang, DMX praying over this music, dope music, guest. artists: Killer Mike, Snoop Dogg, Terrace Martin, MC Light, Lecrae, a bunch of people, Mary,
You
and
know what
the
though?
artists ain't the rappers ain't rapping, they praying.
Wait a minute. See now, because I can we can get into our Christian conspiracy theorist bag and be like, all right, we know why that wouldn't push to certain kind of markets because to anybody outside of a believer that would be dangerous, right?
Yeah,
That would be dangerous
yeah,
to anybody outside of a believer because I think that's a beautiful thing. And if I knew, I'm like, wait, because I'm like, I was looking at, I was looking at this clip here, right? You had a clip, and I want to play this real quick,
okay,
real
I'm
quick.
writing, I don't edit myself as I'm writing. So however it comes out, it's how it comes out. And you'll hear Amazing Grace in the middle of the melodic line of that, completely unintentional. I don't even know why I played those notes. I'm not playing and then adding his vocal. I'm listening and playing at the same time. I'm listening to his vocal and recording what I feel. It morphs from Amazing Grace to One Life to Do It. The melody of Amazing Grace, it was just right there. I still to this day don't know why I kept going to that, why that vocal and that sentiment, what he was saying, One Life to Do It, just made me play that.
Yeah, look, so I seen that clip and I said, wait a minute, I didn't know that they did an album. And but what you were saying to me was such a beautiful thing is how God moves you in a certain kind of way that first of all, a lot of hip hop artists didn't even like speak on God loudly and proudly as DMX did. And it's hope,
yeah,
no matter what his albums were about, he gonna give you that prayer. He was serious about it.
yeah,
He was dead serious about his relationship with God and prayer and how he is here because of this, right?
yeah,
And you are working on this album and you are tapped in. I say tapped in, right?
mm,
Um, just the spirit moves you in certain kind of way, especially when you're around anything or any kind of moment. Like your discernment kicks up. You got to go. So you're playing, right? And something's telling you to play this,
right,
right? You feel it's like, and you go with that feeling of it just feel right. It feels right, no matter what I was doing. Because it's almost like I'm pretty sure you've been, which we're going to talk about also. You've been preaching in church, you're in church, or you maybe Saturday night you've been going over your sermon and stuff like that. Get to church Sunday, you may start preaching, and or God say, you know what, scrap that. This is what you're talking about today, and then and
mm,
then God gives you another message that now because this message is specifically for now, and God needs you to give these to these people now. Kind of like how I kind of got that from when you're playing, and something's telling you to play this in this kind of way, and
yeah,
you can't fight it, you can't get away from it. I try to come up with something else, come right back to that, come right back to that, and then it comes out this beautiful piece
yeah.
with DMX praying over it to find out you did a whole album with different rappers and they're praying over this music,
Killer Mike is
and then
praying, Snoop Dogg is praying, MC Light is praying, Lecrae praying.
wow, that's it's a beautiful thing, and then you wonder why. How is this not being talked about? Even on a scale of like, just forget if you're a believer, just the fact that it's interesting, like
It's
that.
interesting. It's very interesting, and it's DMX.
Yeah,
It's like you hear him in a different way. It's dope, man. It's really, I mean, it's a dope thing. I think anybody that listens to it, it's something that if you're having a trouble in your spirit, some people just have trouble spirit. They just have a lot of
yeah,
turmoil and
yeah,
they're being tormented. This is
for
something you can
sure.
put on and just decompress. You know what I'm saying? Just listen to him
Yeah,
pray. Because some people, everybody wants to pray. A lot of people don't have the words. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They don't have the prayer language. They don't have the language. They don't know what to say to God.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just let somebody else do it for you. Listen to DMX. Let him pray for you. You know what
I
I'm
like
saying?
that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. It makes me and thinking about it for myself. When I gave my life to Christ as an adult in 2022, I was having struggle praying because I was telling myself I don't know how. I was
Mm.
I can't find the words, so I would be very private about it. I wouldn't pray over dinner. Or I wouldn't pray for nobody because I'm like I don't even know what to say. But when I started having these conversations with God, and I start praying more, just kind of going over with myself more, then I realized that, wait a minute, there's not a scripted way to do this. I'm just talking to God and asking God for things, or talking to him about things that I want to see happen, or a healing, or a problem, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And you start speaking to things specifically, right? So if for example, if I met somebody who's dealing with some struggles in their family, and somebody just dealing with some grief, or they just lost their job, I speak to those things specifically, right?
Right.
And we kind of and a lot of times what a lot of people don't realize is, once you start getting in your prayer, you're speaking from the heart. God is speaking through you. He'll take over a lot of times too. He'll take over.
All the times. And ain't that interesting that you can rap
Yeah, and
all
didn't
you
have.
want to? Listen,
Yeah.
some people do what they
Wow.
can. Some people do all they want. You one of them, you can do all you want. You can just rap and
Mhm.
rap and write. But then when it comes to prayer, it's like, I don't know what to say.
I know what to say. Yep.
See what I'm saying? And that's the trick of the enemy. Like, how you don't know? Yeah, you do know what to say. You
That's
got
a
all,
fact.
you are wordsmith. You got all the words in the world. Like, you have walking
That's
thesaurus.
that is a. It's funny, Warren. I never looked at it that way. I never. It's funny, even thinking about myself in those moments when not knowing what to say, or not knowing, quote unquote, how to pray. I
Yeah.
never even thought about the writer in me. I've been writing my whole entire life: poems, stories, books, raps. And when I think about what to say in the morning or pray for somebody, this feeling comes over me of like, ooh, I'm nervous. I don't want to sound stupid. I don't want to sound right. And to your point, not the point, to the fact of, it's the trick of the enemy. He
Right.
doesn't want me to pray for no. He knows I got that gift. He don't need me, somebody like me praying. Here's the other thing I realized. He even having a platform like this, talking about music, me being a rapper, and when I talk to my community, I'm praying. I've been on live stream. I've prayed for people in my community. I talk about God in my community. I talk about, and I'm not as broad as just like, oh God, I say Jesus Christ. I say the name Jesus Christ, even in my
Specifically.
specifically Jesus Christ. Do not get confused with who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but and I'm using my my platform, my voice in a way to always glorify. So that's interesting. I never thought about it like that. How he takes he'll use that to confuse you. All of a sudden, you don't know what to say.
I
I
don't know
even
what to
talk too
say,
much.
or somebody
You know.
somebody just broke this down to me last week, Friday. A guy, a friend of mine named John DeCure, he was preaching at my church, and he says he said everybody told everybody, tell me your birthday or something like that, but don't say
Mhm.
nothing. Don't just tell me your birthday, but don't say nothing. He said, see how that he said you got your birthday, but everybody has an inner voice
Yeah.
that you can hear, and sometimes what's coming out of your mouth and your inner voice is not lining up. So you can be praying words, but there's inside your mind,
Uh,
you thinking of all kind of other stuff, and those things aren't lined up. There's a scripture that
wow.
says, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart
Wow.
collectively be acceptable in thy sight. Lord, you're my strength, my redeemer. The meditation of my heart, when they say heart, they're talking about the inside, they're talking about your mind.
Sure.
And those things, when they line up, that's real true prayer. Because sometimes, man, as soon as I go to pray,
Mhm.
everything be coming like, oh man, I forgot to pick up the cleaners. I forgot to get, anything.
Right. Yeah.
I left the stove on, but I'm trying to pray. Like, so you got to line those things up.
Yeah.
That's why meditation is so important.
Because learning how to turn down the noise,
Turn
learn
it
how to
off.
turn it
Yeah.
off. Right. And I've learned that too. When I started doing, I started because I'll be driving in the morning. I drive Uber too, right? So I'll be
Uh,
driving in the morning, and I used to turn the radio on, but I started thinking like, you know what? Instead of turning the radio on, let me turn the radio off. Right. Let me not listen to anything. And those are the times I tell myself, these are the times you could be talking to God, because
yeah.
every conversation, or every with prayer, what you'll because I find myself starting to do this, right? You'll pray, and then your pray becomes second nature. You're just repeating a script after a while, because you're just used to saying this thing in this kind of way, in this
Yeah.
order, right? So at that point, it's not really in here. It's just you remember your lines at that point. So when I'm in the car, sometimes I'll be talking to God. Sometimes I'll be like, God, we got another day today. And I'm like, man, I hope everything go good. I'll just be talking regular, like I'm talking to my friend, which
Yeah.
is my father, right?
Right.
And I'll just be talking like, man, I hope today's go good, man. Please, I'm just ask you to continue to bless us and protect me, man. And you know what, God, I want to ask you this. I was having a problem with this scripture. I'll be talking like regular, but
Yeah.
I think for me, that's the way that I'm building a stronger relationship with God because I need to stop. We all use the word the Father and tend to not treat him like the Father, right? What happens a lot of times, the relationship becomes transactional, right? I'm gonna ask you for
Wow.
something. I hope I get it, and then I see this video. I wish I had the clip because I didn't know the conversation was gonna go here, but this clip of this man was saying he said, I prayed you to take away the cancer. You didn't take away the cancer. I prayed that my wife and my family wouldn't leave me. My wife divorced me and I don't have my kids don't let me know. I prayed that you would heal me, this body part, whatever. My life never got fixed. I lost my job because of tithing. I didn't have money for rent because of tithing. He said, I don't know why I wasted my time being a Christian. That was it. That's his video. Right. And everybody in the comments was thinking what I'm saying, like, oh, you were using him for like a bank, like a
He was an
this
ATM machine to you.
he was an ATM machine to you. You went to him because you needed something, you didn't get it, so that thing don't work. That ATM machine broke. And
When's the
I'm
last
like,
time you gave somebody something like that you did not have a relationship with at all?
mm,
He wants relationship.
for sure.
And what he is to you, he ain't to me. He's God. He's something different. It's called the how did I say it? The idiosyncratic conceptualization of who God is. What he is to you, he's not to me. How you got saved, I didn't get saved the
Yeah,
same way. He's
right.
God idiosyncratically to everybody in a different way. That's how big he
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
like the way I came in, the way this person came in, the way this person, his relationship ain't his relationship. This relationship ain't that relationship. It's just we all have our own different parts of who he is. And think about this. People say, I know God. No, you don't. You can't. You cannot know you can't know the
Mhm.
person that spoke the world into existence and said, let there be light and let there be waters and boom. You can't know that guy. You can
Right,
know your small little piece of him. And we are not big enough. We don't have enough capacity to
for
know him
sure.
like that. Matter of fact, the Bible says no man even seen God and lived. You
Right,
know what I'm saying?
right.
Like I can only know him in small fractions of little pieces, and that little piece fills my entire world up. That's how big he is.
100%. 100%. I love that, man. And I think that's the back to the album. I think that's what's so great about that album because that album will help so many. I think if you turn that album on and listen to that,
Yeah.
it can do so much for your life. That's
Hmm.
people praying over you. You start to hear that. You start to take that in. You start to live with these messages, these things, and some people may even some. I always do a thing where I'm like, you know what? Even with these people watching right now, I say, you know what? Maybe even if one person say, you know what? Let me see what God about. I keep hearing him talking about that. Or I love Warryn Campbell, dope producer. Let me see, and he's talking about God too. Let me see what Jesus talking about. Let me try it out. Let me
Yeah.
see. You know what I mean? So that's why we keep talking and talk, is because I'm trying to, he said, go out and disciple.
Yeah.
Go out, go forth. Right? So
Yeah.
so these stories and the fact that we even got here, I love that because it shows the not the complete journey because we still live in it, right? But it shows in my opinion, a well-rounded journey to a beautiful, beautiful life. I'm not talking about just money and fame and stuff like that. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about uh, brotherhood, fellowship, love,
Yeah.
companionship, partnership, faith. You know what I mean? All these things,
Family,
these
man,
beautiful things.
children, all that.
It's a beautiful thing. So you watch that whole road, and if you're looking at Warren, like from little Warren to Pastor Campbell,
Yeah.
right? And you just like, wow. Let me ask, did you see? I talked to you about this. About did you see yourself doing? You ran from that, right? If I'm not mistaken, you was running from
Being a
your
pastor?
ministry.
Oh
Yeah.
no, yeah, yeah. That was That was
You
like
like,
God with a lasso rope. Like let's get him, boys. That was it. That was I did not see that at all. I mean, but to be honest, most of the things that I've done, even though I love music,
yeah.
I didn't see a lot of that stuff I've done. My life is very much written. It could be my life could be the script of the movie Forrest Gump. You know how
Uh,
Forrest Gump just found himself in all kind of just
yep.
historical moments he didn't even know he was in.
For sure. Yep.
That's my entire life. Like I'm doing what I love, la di da doing this, and then later on it becomes this thing that I'm gone. I'm not even in the moment. I'm doing something else. Don't even know.
Right. Wow.
Like, and so somebody called me yesterday. It's a song that I did with a good brother of mine named Charles Jenkins. Charles called me and said, "Hey man, the song was like that song was like the most played something. Like it won an award at the BMI Awards the other day for the most played song last year. The year before, I was like,
I don't even know.
I don't. And plus the fact that I live in Los Angeles, there is no 24-hour gospel radio station in Los Angeles.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how would I know? I don't hear it on the radio. So you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's a lot of
Wow.
things and milestones that have happened in my life and the things I've been a part of. I'm clueless to because I'm over here. I keep moving. I'm going to the next
Yeah.
thing. But you look back and go like all these things happen. Kind of like my life is like Forrest Gump. I'm a pastor now of this church and people coming to me, hear me preach. And I'm like, I'm just doing what God said do.
Right.
That's literally all. I'm just being obedient. And if I do nothing else, that's really all I am, just a person, a man of obedience. And that's it. That's it. I just
That's
say he
that's
says do this. Like, yes, Lord, okay, I'll do that. I don't even know how to do that, but okay.
right.
Like
I figure
preaching, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, all right.
it's
Like listen, you sit under one of the coldest preachers ever. You know what I'm
Michael
saying? Michael J.T. Fisher is one of the coldest. He's been born and bred to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was not. Like I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So having friends like that is like it's very it's intimidating because all my friends are cold blooded preachers.
and
Like
yeah, your spiritual father is Bishop Omer. That's a whole nother.
Bishop Owen will be preaching at my church Sunday morning. This Sunday, if you come through,
Oh,
11 o'clock.
okay. That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Bishop Omer is the same with Pastor Fisher. Same. His spiritual father, man.
Yep.
And it's funny. I think about when I found out you were going to be a pastor. You're gonna start preaching. And fast forward to Cali Worship Center, right? And
After you stop laughing.
right, for sure. I'm like, wait, what? Because the shock is always it's that because I know your relationship with God. We never questioned that, but it's like that's another level, right? So we just like, wait, what happened? You doing what,
See, you know
right?
me in the studio. I don't even talk that much like that.
Right, right. And so it's like, wait, what? But I think also for me, I I always respected the sacrifice. And
Mm,
whatever any friends I have, I don't care if you like one day you looking at me now and then we talk, you see me next year and I'm 100 and something pounds down. You like, wait, that's I'm proud of that, right?
yeah,
It's a sacrifice. And for you to say, look, to be a pastor, first of all, to be a pastor is already a lot, right? It's
yeah. It's a
already a
lot.
lot. It's a lot. And so now because you're always you're the head of a bunch of people in this place, right?
Mm,
You're the shepherd of the house, right? And
mm,
people not only are you doing sermons and you're preaching at church, now people are coming to you for every single thing, calling
yeah,
you for everything, and I don't care how small the problem is to huge, big problems and big things, and you take on a lot. Um,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
Especially the more gifts you have too. More gifts you have, God gets to knocking you around and telling you stuff and all.
Man,
And then and
man.
you being a pastor, it's like not comparing in the same kind of way, but I use the example of doctors where
Oh yeah,
you see and deal with so much, you take all this stuff in. So you're it's like if you have any kind of feelings, which I know you, right? So you hearing some of the coldest stories and things, and then you just kind of take them in. It's like, man, such and such just passed, and such and such going through this, and
Yeah.
we got to pray for such and such, and man, you heard about? Oh, I'm so sorry, but we're gonna pray for all these things, and you got to be strong. You got to be the shepherd of the house. You got to be, I'm not saying you got
Man.
to be strong in the old school masculinity way. I just mean like you built for this. You were put in a position to handle these things.
It's a lot on your shoulders, but then you thinking about it like this: like God does not call you to anything. Because first of all, you got to understand that this is a calling. This is not an ambition. You just I woke up one. I want to be a pastor. Nah,
Right. There's a
anybody
few
that
out
does
there.
that, run from that guy.
There's a few out
This
there now that we should be running from. But go ahead.
you got to be called to this. You got to be called,
Sure.
but
Yep.
God will never call you to something and not equip you for it.
100%.
And not strengthen you for it, give you the wisdom and the knowledge for it. So, that part came later. I didn't understand what was happening, what I'm doing, but God just started dropping knowledge and sending people in my life to help me and to shepherd me and to teach me and coach me and all these different things. And like I said, I'm always learning. So I've
Yeah.
just been gleaning and learning here, learning there, and going like, okay, this is how I do this. This is how I deal with this. And then realizing that this is not my church. My name is out
Mm.
there. Warren Campbell's the pastor and the founder of it,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
This
Right.
is God's church. He called me to
God's house
manage it.
for sure.
I don't own a
Well,
McDonald's. I'm just a manager. You know what I'm saying?
right. You're right.
So
For
that's
sure.
that's at that, and because of that, I'm here to serve. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm a servant in this
Yeah.
role. I'm not to
Yeah.
be elevated and how you put preachers on a pedestal. He got all his pinky rings and his gold teeth, the Jerry curl, and what I'm saying, Cadillac, is the purple suits. I'm not. No, I'm a servant. My dad told me this. My dad was like, "Now that you're a pastor, you're a doormat. You're the thing that the people wipe their feet on. That's who
Mm.
you are."
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and you say, and I humbly accept that.
Wow.
I'm like, if that's what God want me to do, that's what it is.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Wow. And I know it's been challenging because like you said, you're literally learning on the job, for real
on the
on the job.
job training, man,
It's on the
big
job
time.
training, and how is there ever a time where where you being who you are, right? Not just Warren Campbell the producer, Warren Campbell the husband. You're Warren Campbell the pastor also. All these things,
Yeah,
um, and the music calls or the business calls you,
yeah.
right? Um, are the phone calls changing, or do you still? Because well, basically what I'm getting to is I'm always changing, practicing to be better and changing my life for the better. But when I gave my life to Christ, I just couldn't do certain things. Like,
Right,
so the people who wanted bad luck on records they just can't get that no more, right?
right,
So they
right.
want a specific thing, and that's not me no more. Right? I'm saying
Yeah,
I've grown out of that. I've changed that. So people now for you who do the music, right? But it may be an artist that don't align with you know what I'm trying to say. Like, what happens when
yeah.
that happens? The I'm not going to use no names. I don't want to disrespect nobody, but just somebody who doesn't really make that kind of music that's pleasing to anybody.
Funny
Really.
enough, a lot of those people who will call me that make just derogatory music and stuff like that,
Yeah.
they'll call me and say, "Man, I want to do this gospel type song."
Oh, okay.
A lot.
Wow.
I get that a lot.
Wow.
And I'm the call for that. Like I'm called. Yeah, I want to do this gospel. Can we do? I'm like, okay. I just got
So
off
yeah.
tour. I just got off tour. Did a 10 city tour with Killer Mike and Dave Chappelle. Right.
Wow.
And
First of
Killer
all,
Mike
congrats
says,
on that.
"Man,
Congrats on
it's
congrats.
not even a band. It's just him and DJ, and he wants to put an organ on stage. I just want to go. I want to feel like church.
Wow.
So I'm gonna play. I'm playing the organ. Like I'm making the whole thing
Yeah.
feel like church. And that's what I
That's
did.
dope. Okay.
So I
That's
get
dope.
that.
Yeah.
And then there's certain calls that I can't take no more. I can't do the
Right.
this guy's
Yeah.
album because
Yeah. Right.
it's just it doesn't fit my spirit. I was
Yeah.
gonna say my brand, but it doesn't fit with the way I like to live my life and the way I like to walk. Now I would feel out of place in certain. I do a lot of scoring, film scoring,
Oh, really? Okay.
and TV and film, and so I took on a job, and I didn't. I took it on without. previewing what it was. And
Okay.
so I did like the first episode, and I realized there was a lot of stuff in there that it just didn't sit well with me. So I had to basically bow out of that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love scoring. It was a great opportunity, and I had to give that up because like dang, it just
Wow.
didn't fit with my spirit and who I am. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel right telling my mom watch this TV show I just did. And it's a
Yeah,
good
man.
enough show. People love it, whatever. But I was just like, yeah, I can't be a part of that. You know what I mean? It
I
is what
was
it
just
is.
I was telling my people I was talking on Instagram one time, and I used it for a message I was telling the people, but I told them how I recently got a phone call for a really really big rapper. He wanted
Mm,
me to get on the song. He said he loved my work. He wished he said he know I'm kind of like not really rapping the same no more. He said I would love to get you on this record, and I said, well, I kind of changed some things about my life, right? So I can't just rap on anything. He said, I know, man, but I respect it. He said, man, just hear it. When I heard the record, I'm like, there's 10 dudes died before I even got to the bar four. Like, bro, he talked about all the stuff, the women, the killing. And I said, man, respectfully, I can't get on. So I said, thank you. I feel honored and humbled that he called because I never talked. I don't know this artist, but the fact he reached out must have got my number through somebody. And I respected it. But
mm,
and for the app for another person looking or listening, the opportunity was there to make some money and be put on some big platform or place, whatever, but it wasn't worth how I was feeling when I heard the song. I'm like, nah, because also I feel like being so I still say I'm so new in the faith. Being so new in the
mm.
faith, I feel like you still getting tested. And mind you, I know that you get tested all the time through our life. It's gonna be an
Yeah.
endless journey of test, right? And I feel like I can't be on my page and talking to people and praying for people, even talking like this, how I'm talking to you, we talking now, and then a new song come out tomorrow and it's me talking about where the such and such is at. And I
Yeah.
have my rap on me with that's crazy. It's just
But
crazy.
you
And
know
it
what? I want you
doesn't
to think about it like this too. Um, in that moment, because I've had those same scenarios, and
Mhm.
then I thought about one time and said, you know what? Is this a test, and God just kind of testing me, or am I going to go with this, or is it an opportunity for me to bring God in the room,
Mm.
for me to be the light in the dark place? Because
Right,
that's who we
right.
are.
For
Think about
sure.
the Superdome when Hurricane Katrina went down and all them people was in the Superdome. It was so much evil happening there. People were getting
Yep.
raped in there and killed. There was no lights nowhere. And then somebody was screaming, this lady was screaming like they trying to rape me. And this one person out of all that darkness had a flashlight. And they
Wow.
flashed the light across the whole thing and it hit the spot to where they were because he found the sound, found those guys. When the flashlight hit them, they took off running. It was a little light in that
Wow.
big old dark place. Sometimes, in
Wow.
a song like that, right? He's saying
Yeah.
like 14 people done died in the
Mhm.
first verse. Then here you come with all the life and the light.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, okay, I'll get them the song. And it's all that. It's up to them to keep the light.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
you got to
you're
think
right.
about that next time too. Like,
For
yeah, I'll get
sure.
on it, but it's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be
You
how
know,
it's gonna be who it's gonna be. It ain't gonna be bad luck, it's gonna be good luck.
I appreciate that perspective because yeah, that's how I looked at it. And you're right. Like if you are to be the light in the room, you can't you can't never go in the room. You can't never not walk in the room. You got to be
Yeah.
the light in the room. If you're gonna change a space or leave a space better than when you came, it's just like praying for somebody, right? If you need
Yes.
to be, but wow, you just gave me a whole other perspective with how to even approach these kind of conversations,
Because
right?
if you think
And,
about
and,
the Bible
and,
and the Great Commission, it's go into all the world and
yep,
preach the gospel. What? It says to every creature.
yep,
Everybody. You gotta hit everybody.
100%. Wow.
You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
appreciate that, man. Wow, I appreciate that. That gave me a whole nother way to even look at this and approach this. And
Yeah.
if you call like it's like you, they call you, ask, they know what you do. So
They
when
know
they
what I
call you,
do.
say, I'm doing, I'm trying to do a gospel record. So
Yes.
if you calling me, then you know what you must about to get, right?
You know,
You know,
you know exactly what you're
you
about to
know,
get. Like from Petey Pablo. He did. I remember that Petey Pablo called me, and he it wasn't even that. What it was is he took my beat and did a gospel song to the beat. It wasn't even a gospel sounding track. It had an
Mm,
Al Green sample in it. He
right,
wrote a song called "He Spoke to Me." You know what I'm saying? I give Dog a record. He write ups and downs.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't say
right.
this is a gospel track. It ain't. It's a banging beat. But they write. It's the spirit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It makes them go like, you know what?
Wow,
Let me say something like this over that. You know what I'm saying? So
man.
just
Wow.
remember, you always carry that light and that spirit in you, and it's everywhere you go. It's always with you.
Yeah. Man, Warren, man, look, man, I'm not gonna take no much more of your time, man. I want to say for me, this has been an honor, first of all, on so many levels. Um, not only did you allow us into your life story in a sense and told about your story, different things, and you offered some great game. You also offered a different perspective on how to move and what it is to be the light in certain areas and how you would move.
Yeah,
I love that story about the Superdome and the little bitty light in that
yeah.
big old room. I love that
And
because
that's a true story.
it helps me navigate. And when you go out in the world and you have stories like that, you have that kind of perspective, you start to run into places to try to be a light in places. You know what I mean?
See,
And
see.
I appreciate that. It really that man that right there.
Because man, you got a lot to offer, man. Like, listen, people don't know, man, the stuff that the gift that you have,
Thank you, man.
just as a MC, as a rapper, like it's really it's a huge gift that the world ain't seen yet. That's when I
Yeah,
hit you a little while ago. I was like, yo, man, let's do some music. Cause I'm like, I was just listening. I woke up one day thinking about your voice and how you get down. I was like, man, Luck would be just in the kingdom. He'll be a powerful, like you
wow.
would crush. And so listen,
Thank
we gotta get back to that.
we for sure. And I feel now I can say I'm in a much different place with that than I was when we talked at first.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so yeah,
I
for sure.
mean, come on, let's get to it then. Let's go.
There it is. There it is. Warren, man, thank you, bro. Thank you for spending this time with me.
Appreciate you, man.
You sat down with me for 2 hours in this space on live. The people were blessed. I was blessed with your presence, your story, man. People understand. Like Warren is not only am I a fan of his work, but he's actually a friend of mine. So
Absolutely.
the fact that he sat in here with me and had this conversation in front of the people, I'm just honored, and
And
it's
we
just
went to the same high school.
and went to the same high school. Come on, man. Come on. Oh, you gotta love that, And I'm just so much humbled by this, and I appreciate you. I do want you have first of all you have Bishop Umar coming to speaking preaching at your church this Sunday.
Yeah.
Cali Worship Center. You have the address for Cali Worship Center?
214 North McClay Avenue in the city of San Fernando. This Sunday we kick off. It's April. We're kicking off our 10th anniversary as a church. So
Wow.
Bishop Omer will be there at our 11 o'clock service, and then at 3:30 there's a choir concert with our choir plus Dietrich Haddon and his choirs coming. Guest
Oh
appearance
wow.
by Mary. They're gonna be there singing. So it's gonna be a good
Wow.
day. It's gonna be a real good day.
Wow. That's amazing, man. I'm so. First of all, I love hearing that. Congratulations on 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
that is fire. And like I said, I didn't see it. Not that I couldn't see it, but I'm glad it's you. Like I'm glad
Oh,
it's you. So we'll talk soon, man. Thank you for and when I get finished with this and whether it's clips and anything you want to post, I'll make sure you have your stuff and stuff like
thank
that.
you.
And thank you once again. Thank you. I'm honored, my brother. I love you.
Love you, man.
Tell Erica, thank you for what she did on the other music. You know what we talking about.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
her and Tina, come on, man.
Smashed.
Amazing, man. I'm so happy and so proud to just be getting in, man. So thank you, brother. We
Thank you,
appreciate you, man.
man.
My
Appreciate you,
man.
brother.
I'll talk to you soon, bro.
In a
My
minute.
man. Wow.
Peace.
Wow. Hey, man, Warren Campbell, everybody. Warren Campbell. That right there, man. Let me just say, um, I'm never too cool to be a fan. Never. Warren Campbell has done some of the biggest records in R&B and hip hop. What a super dope individual. Always been a pleasure to work with, be around. He's an amazing person. Please follow him on his Instagram page. The Instagram page is Warren Campbell, straight up, no underscore, no nothing. Warryn Campbell, WarrynCambbell. Make sure you follow him. And man, in the chat. But first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Sunshine Baby, Dave, thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Everybody in the chat, who all in the chat? Papa, am I saying that right? Shout out to my man Nick, Mark from Zelly Productions. He in the building. I know. Let me see who else was in here earlier. I appreciate y'all, man. Who that right there? All of us. Big shout out, big shout out, big shout out. JFS Black, I was holding us down earlier. Shout out, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I appreciate y'all. Just yes, sir. Salute. Shaquan, hey cousin, I love you. I love you. Good. I mean, I can't wait to see you again. I do got to talk to you on the side. On the side, I'm gonna text you anyway about that little meeting. I want you to talk to my good friend Rob, or I'll be calling in. But Shaquan, man, I miss y'all. Tell Brandon, tell the family I said what up. I love y'all so much. To my lovely wife, who just left a message. I love you, babe. Thank you. I'm glad you caught that. I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you. That was an amazing conversation. Warren's such an amazing person, man. I'll be doing more interviews like that with super cool people that doing amazing things. Like I said, great community. A great character, great community. That's what we're doing here on this side of YouTube. Great community. Great character, great community. That's we build it from then on. That's it. That's what we're doing. And I'm glad that people got to hang out with me. I'm glad that people got to hear Warryn Campbell and his story. Like I said, amazing individual. Oh, go get this album too. Let me see that. Let me see the album. I don't have the cover to the album, but I do have. I got this off his page. Whatever. Let me see. Go get this album. It's called Let Us Pray. It's a DMX album. It's prayers produced by Warryn Campbell with different artists on it. It's different artists that are praying over music produced by Warryn Campbell. Like, how dope does that sound? Music produced by Warryn Campbell with artists that are praying. That's fam. Obviously, I feel how I feel about why it wasn't promoted, right? But I'm gonna go get it now, and I'm gonna listen to that. That's gonna be my morning listen, straight up. You know what I mean? That's an amazing concept, and I wish more people. Well, I get why they're not, but I wish more people would check that album out, and I will be promoting it for sure. Because once I get it, I'm be banging that for sure. So hey man, I appreciate all y'all for falling through. I'm about to log out. I'm looking forward to scheduling some more dope interviews. I will be on live tomorrow. I gotta come up. I gotta schedule me a time. I'll have it posted a little earlier. Just popping the talk, talking to the community. Maybe I'll have something to react to or talk about, whatever. But I just want to keep building this community. I'm glad y'all fell through. For those who showed some love, who spoke, who interacted, who sent a question in, I appreciate all y'all, man. And yeah, so I'll be getting at y'all soon. I love y'all. God bless. Thank you. We out.